Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Beacon, our Alien ttrpg live play here on Althaven with the Streampunks. It's a very special night because it's our penultimate episode. At least I think it is. Unless they move very quickly, it might be our final episode. I have no idea what this crew has in store for me tonight. But
Speedrun TPK, let's go.
I was going to say, I mean, you guys might just be like, screw it. I say we nuke the whole site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. Be like, okay, so tonight's the last episode of Beacon. So with that in mind, thank you so much for joining us for this long play on the dark frontier of Hope Punk. It's been a blast. We'll have some more coming up. But for now, yeah, it's going to be a big episode tonight. So thank you. Announcements. The first major announcement to announce tonight is that you will see this hitting socials this evening as well as tomorrow. But I can officially announce that the launch date for the last Excelsior, the next Clear Skies campaign, is going to be July 15th. So if y'all are surprised that that's so soon, this has actually been a project we've been working on for months. So we're trying to hit that window because the game's about to release and we've got all this great stuff planned for you guys. So it's really exciting. I'm really excited to get back into playing Star Trek and running it for these kids. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not going to lie, like it was my idea to run Alien. That being said, I am looking forward to a little bit of a brighter game. I confess. I got my fix, and ready to. Every time I watch the trailer for Romulus, I'm like, yeah, it's time to move on. But like, this is
just get it off your chest.
Yeah, exactly, and or out of my chest. So with that. I'm going to go ahead and hand things off to anybody else who has any other announcements they'd like to make tonight before we kick off this big story. Anybody else? Yes. Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first because I'm going to try to keep it super quick. Okay. Just a reminder that I have some stuff that I'll be releasing soon at elizapearl.itch.io. And also Search One for All AHL, which is a fantasy novel that I narrated. And it's officially, we're waiting for ACX and Audible to approve it. And then it'll be out probably like within a week on Audible. So One for All. I loved narrating it. It's a very cool book. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yay. Awesome. Caitlin, what you got?
Super fast. I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but the family I've been helping out with for a fundraising initiative, Jana and her family, she's a 14-year-old artist, and her family and her some of her immediate family, not her extended family, are fundraising to try to get out of Palestine. And I shared that link last time. I will bump it again. If you have like a couple bucks to share, you should toss it at them. She's very sweet. She actually messaged me on Instagram last week. So I talked to her a little bit. So that's a thing that I'm continuing to boost and pump, and I will retweet that link again.
Sweet.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Caitlin. Does anybody else have anything they would like to... Wait, hold up. Something about a fundraiser passing $5,000? Who did that? Something? Yeah.
Actually, multiple of the degenerates you see here on screen participated in such a conspiracy. This past weekend, we did my 4-year streamiversary on Twitch. That's so many science stories I can't even tell you. And the latest one, which I remind you is the greatest sports story ever told, and it's about dogs, is live over on YouTube now. But we celebrated said 4 years of streaming by fundraising for the LGBTQ Freedom Fund, which supports people who need pre-trial bond and immigration bond, which is with a focus on LGBTQ individuals who are both at higher risk of detention and of more severe violence and consequences when such detention happens. So we played a double feature of ttrpgs and raised the total, last I checked before the show, is $5,555.55. I understand none of those numbers are 69, but I think as the community, bringing it over my channel's lifetime fundraising total of $20,000 across 4 different causes has been pretty darn great. So that link is actually going to be up. I'm not closing it until the end of Beacon today, but that'll mark the end of the streamiversary, and I'm just very honored to be a part of a community that is so hostile toward fundraising goals.
An excellent way of putting it. yeah. Well, congratulations. That is pretty wicked cool. Yeah, let's see. I felt like there was something I was going to say before. I was going to point something. Oh, damn it. Brain derailed. No survivors. I cannot remember what it was.
Buy you some time real quick.
Yes, go ahead and buy me some time.
The cover issue of Big B and Dash, issue 1, is up now. If you want to see what these lovely characters look like, you can find them over at the Twitter of Noirville312. So that's the account for it. Go ahead and check it out.
We got the branding. We got the branding. Let's go.
Thank you. That actually reminded me. So a real quick sidebar is kind of an unusual announcement. I'll make it quick. If you guys have noticed lately, Streampunks has been kind of having a little bit of an issue with a chargeback scheme taking place over on our fundraising site for coffee. I have been on top of it. Thankfully, it looks like it has chilled out on the Streampunks end. If you guys have seen any disconnects or anything like that for your memberships, everything should be fine. But I just wanted to let everybody know if anybody had any questions about what was happening with that. It has finally chilled out and things have leveled off, at least for the Streampunk side of things. I, on the other hand, seem to still have attracted a bunch of these folks, but letting everyone know that everything should be well in hand in order. If you have any other questions, please let us know and we'll get back to you as soon as we can on that. But thank you so much as always for supporting the Stream Punks, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the next campaign. And that's all I've got for the rest of the night. If anybody else doesn't have anybody announcements that else they would like to get by, okay. Sam looks like they want to say something.
I'm excited.
Okay. Well, let us go ahead and dive in to the first from last episode of Beacon. Cheers. Welcome back. We're going to go ahead and jump right back into our game session where we last left off, which of course had our two Marines squatting down into the mud in front of a giant mountain of wreckage, only to uncover the dog tags of somebody one of these Marines once knew. You, of course, as each of you know, currently y'all are sitting on a planet known as Delphini 462D. This is a moon that is orbiting a huge gas giant, which you guys can see quite clearly amongst the white puffy clouds that linger overhead. Just beyond the blue sky, you can see this great gas giant basically encompassing almost the entire skyline. It gives the entire planet a shadowed countenance, where it almost seems like it is partially eclipsed no matter where it turns in relation to the sun, possibly because of its orbit. In this regard, you guys have landed on this world, and if you remember correctly, were almost shot down for your efforts. You managed to do a hard landing. The Elios has found herself a nice outcrop created by the crash site you've all uncovered, just not too far away from the final resting place of this particular crash, and only a few kilometers away from the base that you were all planning on locating, this energy source that you found not too far from here. Supposedly the lab that has all of the answers waiting for you. Getting out of the Elios, two of you decided to go scout out the crashed remains of this, what appears to be a Colonial Marines attack frigate. Now, to give you a sense of scale, the Elios could have easily docked with this ship. It would be accurate to say this attack frigate was roughly the same size as Beacon Station, and looks like it split in half and fell out of the sky. The other end of this ship is currently scattered out in front of you all, and when I call it a mountain of wreckage, that's why. It's because the enormity of the steel hulk that is in front of you, that is just finishing what looks like a long burn, is still an intimidating sight to behold. But you can also clearly see that it is the ship that Martha had been told would be giving you guys backup here on this planet. Bears the exact name that you were told, which is the Sephora. Now, it is worth noting that though this ship has been crashed for some time, there was, upon your, as a quick reminder, there was an SOS beacon cleverly left in orbit, which is kind of a standard procedure. If a ship is going down, the Colonial Marines are known for popping that off so everyone knows exactly where they were last located. And this has been transmitting for a while. So the hint that I gave you all is that it is very likely the Colonial Marines know that the Sephora has been lost. And it is also just as likely, Martha, that especially when you lose a frigate, the Colonial Marines come charging in. If any of their people are taken down, if a ship is dropped, you can bet the cavalry's on its way. So in this case, there's no sense of orientation as to where that is at. All you know is that you currently are all out here on your own. And that whatever is laying in wait for you at this lab, everyone is getting an increasing sense that this is the end game. You have followed all of the breadcrumbs, all of the twists and turns to this moment. And you are here on this frigid world with temperatures in a dangerous negative 50 degrees Celsius, where you are all having to contend with the fact that the cloning thing that has just been discovered back on Beacon Station, and the fact that it is very likely that Varela is still active and maybe even planet side right now with you all. There was the attack on the Elios. All of these things have been stacking up. Never mind all the information that you gleaned from a data packet that was torn free from Mother after being translated that you discovered on a synthetic cat. It's been quite the ride. And right now, Martha, you are currently squatting down in the dirt, holding these dog tags in front of you. And having read the familiar name, having to contend with the fact that it is very likely your old unit might have been assigned to this frigate. As you've seen that familiar name on the dog tag, it starts to dawn on you that the people that you used to know right before you were assigned to Beacon Station might have been a part of this attack frigate. And just as a quick reminder, the dog tags that you're holding are Private Shoshana Field, who's one of the two privates in your unit that stepped forward, and she ended up taking a step back when you decided to contend with the verbally abusive and terrible CO of your unit. You still remember holding her hand as she was telling you everything that she had been through from this son of a bitch who had been took the in-your-face Marine drill instructor approach a little too seriously, to the point where on a few occasions, your unit, you remember very distinctly, it crossed the line. Now you're holding her dog tags, and this body that lays at your feet undoubtedly was hers. The wind is howling around the two of you, and it is worth noting that you guys have been out here long enough now that even your protective environmental suits are starting to strain underneath the absolute devastating chill of this planet's atmosphere. You're not currently dressed for this kind of environment. You were taking a quick look around to see if the area was secure. And as I hand things over to the both of you, I can confirm that at least for right now, it looks like it is. It looks like there's nothing in the vicinity.
I think I see you looking at the tags for long enough that Tig kind of recognizes maybe what's happening. She doesn't say anything, but she kind of puts a hand on your shoulder and squeezes while you take a minute.
I kind of like nod at you and pat your hand. And then I tuck the dog tags back into wherever I can tuck them into.
Just pulling the Velcro of one of your pockets, stuff them in.
Oh, no. I'm going to put it back with the body.
Oh, you're going to leave the dog tags?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just tuck them in so they don't like blow away in the wind or something.
Okay. Are you planning on coming back to retrieve them, or are you just going to leave them with the body?
I mean, I feel like these people should probably be buried here at some point, so...
Yeah, that's true. Tradition is that you would... dog tags are literally to identify anybody who has fallen in. Yeah.
But what I mean is like leave them so that they're identifiable when we come back.
Sure. Okay.
There are 2 tags usually on a set, so if you'd like to take one of them, you could do that if that was something that Martha would want to do.
I'll maybe later. I'll leave them for now though.
Okay. In which case, yeah, you put them back respectfully, placing them back on her chest as you gently lay her body back down. The body is stiff. It has been out here for quite a while. It looks like it's quite frozen at this point.
And look around to see if there, by any chance, are any foot or dragging tracks, anything that might show that people were here alive.
Any movement that wasn't a crashing ship.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, with that, I'm going to pop open 1 second.
Oh,
Sorry, I should have been prepared.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and pop open our list of Super Punk donors. Because I already know y'all, by the way, as a quick aside, as your storyteller, I have to say, y'all have been getting really, really good at making sure to burn those ox points. And tonight is going to be very important. Okay, with that, let me go ahead and pull up this list. Thank you so much to our super punks. I have that available, so when you guys want to, no pressure here. But if you're going to look around to try to find any tracks or any kind of tracking, I would say this is going to be an observation check.
Mm-hmm.
So wits observation. I will allow survival. Hold on 1 sec. Passable, breathable, Earth-like. Survival is going to be, okay, so terraforming can make an atmosphere very dangerous, blah, blah. Survival, breathe, pressure suits, extreme cold. I'll be having you guys roll for survival for hazardous planet side. Yeah, okay, so that's to try to figure out a way to stay alive. In this case, yeah, I would say an observation check. If you'd like to make one of those. And Caitlin, if Tig would like to assist, you can.
Yeah, can I? Yeah, I would like to assist. I don't think I need to make my own roll. I think it would make more sense to try to give a.
Yep, that would make sense. Okay, so go ahead, and if you would like to make that roll.
Okay, and yeah, Tig, like you would see me stand up and very obviously start looking around. You probably would know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, maybe like I think maybe it would make sense to flavor it like Tig is going to watch out so that you can put your full attention into like looking or something like that.
That's cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So like
Keeping
you don't
watch.
have to split attention. I fully, you know, like she's got your back. And so you can put your full attention into.
I like that. So you kind of fall into your Marine training and you're just keeping an eye on Martha's back as she is focused completely on the ground and take a look around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So go ahead and make your roll, Martha.
I have rolled and I would like to make some decisions about it before you tell us.
Okay. Yep.
It feels maybe too early for an ox point.
This feels like an important ox point to spend.
Yeah, it could be.
Gotta start somewhere.
True. I also was considering pushing. So it's, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we can always, I mean, that's also true. Stress can come back down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We could like relieve the stress early on, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I already have one. But yeah, okay, I will push. And if that doesn't work, can I still spend an ox point?
I believe so, yeah.
Yes, you can always spend an ox point after a roll. You have that option. Yeah. But pushing is also, yeah. You immediately gain a point of stress, and that should have been added.
Yeah, I did get one success and one face hugger. Just one though, so
okay, so that's going to add a point of stress.
I auto
succeed.
It adds another. Okay.
Yeah. So if you roll that, you immediately get another point of stress, and then you are going to have to make a roll on the panic table,
which she'll automatically succeed.
You auto succeed because of your trait.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But you did succeed.
Yes. I got one. Think I will ride with the one, right? Do we think I should have two successes just in case?
One is you will succeed on finding something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you do the second one, then we could ask for like unexpected information, but that's kind of you succeed or we succeed and get to ask a question is kind of the
right.
Whatever you feel right. Whatever you
feel I will hold off on the ox point.
Okay. All right. You search around and part of the narrative of like the fact that you rolled on the panic table you find yourself pushing to the back of your mind the body, the implications, the Marines that were just lost, what is going on here, the attack, everything. You managed to kind of keep it under lock and key for a moment as you focus on looking at the ground to see if maybe anybody walked away from this. Instead, what you find is not somebody walking away, but footsteps, large tracks, about 60 feet from where you were just standing as you're kind of looking around. But you see in the snow here, the snow not being very deep, you see footprints walking towards what looks like this wreckage. The footprints are quite large too. They look like they might be like shack level feet, like quite big. Could be that somebody was wearing like heavy snow boots, perhaps, to track up here. But somebody came through here, it looks like, at some point, and probably long after the crash happened. You do catch what look like tracks that are somewhat fresher moving towards the crash site. Don't see any moving away from it.
Can I follow them? Let's see where they go to.
Yeah, Tig, you start getting a sense that Martha is onto something as she continues to move in that direction. As this is happening, I'm going to need the both of you to make a stamina check.
Okay. All right. It's cold.
So, yeah, it is indeed, as they say, cold.
I have 3 stress. That should help. Ooh.
Okay, so...
Oh my God, same roll as before. 1 success, 1 face hugger. Oh my God, I have 4 stress now.
Wow. Racking that up.
It's okay, I got you. Just give me a minute. I'll give me a minute. I'll help you out.
Okay, one moment. We're off to a good start.
I mean, this is maybe my former, like, team. It's stressful for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just got shot out of the sky. So, like, it's a little stressful.
Pig, what did you roll?
I go 1 success.
Okay, 1 success. Martha, you got 1 success, but now I'm guessing you do have to make a panic check because you're out of the threshold for getting auto successed.
Yes.
Oh,
so
am I? Okay.
Roll a d6 and add the d6 to however many stress points you have.
Oh God. Okay. Oh. 0. Wait, it says 0. Oh, I rolled a 4.
You rolled a 4 on the die?
Yes, but that's plus 4
That's
stress.
plus 4 stress. You're gonna
minus
hit A.
2.
Minus 2.
Minus 2 because of
6,
nerves
so
of
you
steel.
barely
So
keep it
6
together.
exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Nerves of steel, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, it looks like you barely are going to keep that together. All right. With that, Martha, you are really starting to feel the oppressive effects of the atmosphere around you. The air here is a little thin too. So to make things a little even more stressful as the two of you are moving about, you're having to take deeper and deeper breaths as you're moving along and kind of exerting. Huge plumes, white plumes of your breath are just exuding out in front of you as you trudge through this snow layer. Thankfully, though, the snow layer is quite thin and it feels like you're walking over rock as much as anything else. There's no real ice that's formed up here either, which kind of tells you that maybe this rock hasn't been exposed to the elements in a while. It's most likely the ship that crashed here disintegrated any like sheets of ice were probably laying upon this place. As you are trudging through, gritting your teeth, the two of you push on through. I'm going to say that for right now, you have succeeded on a freezing check. So you're not suffering the effects of freezing. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you just a heads up that if you ever do succumb to freezing, here are the effects to give you guys a sense. 1, you can no longer recover health or relieve stress when you are freezing, no matter what TIG does for you. You cannot recover until you lose the freezing condition. You need to make stamina rolls at regular intervals. The colder it is, the more frequently you will need to roll. If it's above freezing, once per day is enough. It is not. It is below freezing. In the sub-zero temperatures, roll once per shift. And then, which is, you guys are fine right now. I'm not going to have you roll unless you stay out here for another shift, which is like another 2 hours, 3 hours. If you fail, you suffer 1 point of damage and your stress level increases a step. And if you are broken while you are freezing, that's when you start making death saves. So as soon as you get warm, you can stop rolling and you lose the condition. You can start recovering stress as normal. So with that in mind, the two of you right now are okay, but your PDT chips, as they are filtering back into the Elios, are tracking that you both, it's watching your oxygen levels, it's watching your heartbeat, it's watching your body temperature. And back on the bridge of the Elios, Doc, you and Isaac are observing Connor. Looks like he's chewing on the edge of his flight glove as he's watching the PDT chips feed back information on Mother. And he just goes, how long are they going to be out there?
No telling with Marines. I suspect they don't even realize it's cold out there.
How could they not? It is extremely cold.
Isaac, do you want to get out there and maybe help them? I mean, if they get into a peck of trouble with the environment and all, if anyone could get them out of trouble, it would be you. Just a thought.
I sort of look over his shoulder. Did the PDT chips look like trouble?
No, but I'm just nervous. Everything's in normal ranges right now. I mean, they look cold here. Their body temperature's dropped a few degrees, but that's not unusual. Thankfully, it's not staying any lower than that. You're the doc. What do you think?
Better safe than sorry, I always say.
Well, either way. Hold on one sec. Flips on the radio and says, hey, two of you better not be making it a habit of just wandering around out there without proper wear.
We'll be back in. We think we've maybe found something. I don't know. I'm following Martha's lead, but we'll circle back around in a sec.
By the time you get back, I'll have a damage report on Elios.
Thank you.
Flips off, turns over and looks at you, Isaac, and says, well, Isaac went ahead and took a look at the back and leans over at you, Doc, and says, the damage looks like it's repairable, but I'm going to need to get to work on it right away.
Well, don't let me get in the way.
Isaac, I don't know how long I have you. I don't know if they end up taking you to the base. One of us is going to have to start working on the Elios right away. And if you decide to go with them, I'm going to need as much of your time as possible because you're kind of the expert on the girl here.
All right. Then if Doc can keep an eye on the PDT chips from here in the cockpit, I can assist you with ship repairs, and if the other two get into trouble, I can go and get them.
Sound good to you, Doc?
Sounds like a well thought out plan.
All right, you can finish the rest of my coffee. I almost threw up when I got shot out of the sky a minute ago anyway. And he gets up out of the seat, swings his leg over the armrest, and squeezes past you, Doc, reaches over and grabs a tool belt and what looks like this big heavy sack filled with all kinds of repair tools. Lifts it down. Says, all right, we'll be down on C deck.
All right, well, best of luck to you. Hope we get everything. I hope we get everything in order.
Just hope in general, I think, as he moves off the deck.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, meanwhile, back outside, Martha, Tig, the two of you are inching closer to the ship. You do see that gradually the footprints look like they become a little deeper, but you can see that the weather has definitely played a bit of a hand in their gradual fade from the snowpack. You start to see that they become a little more difficult to maintain as you guys are getting closer. The snow gets a little deeper. You can see some of these steps looks like they filled in. They are sizably big. So you're having to guess that somebody was probably out here in survival equipment or somebody's a giant. But as you continue moving towards, one thing you're for sure is it's bipedal, whoever it is. So that's kind of a bonus. But as you guys get closer and closer to the ship, you begin to become aware of the heat that is still radiating from the vessel. I'd like the both of you to make a heavy machinery check. Tell me what you get.
What? Another facehugger.
This is actually kind of why the game tells you not to have your players roll too often. However, given the situation.
Mm-hmm. And you got 0?
Yeah, I'm not built for that.
Yeah,
Did you
barely built for that.
At any point, too, by the way, you can just elect to skip a roll if I call for one. Like if I call for a perception check and you don't want to chance it, you can tell me your character's not paying attention. So at any point, don't forget you can do that. In this case, though, I think you're gonna have to make a panic roll here. Did you make any successes?
No.
No successes? Okay. So go ahead and roll a d6 and add 5.
4 + 5, 9 this time.
-2 is 7.
7.
So your stress
That's the
level
thing.
and the stress level of all friendly PCs in short range with you increases by 1.
It's okay.
So you gain an additional point of stress, and now Tig gets it.
Yeah. I'm nervous about missing something here. I'm gonna take another point of stress, and I'm gonna re-roll.
Okay.
Come on, Tig.
Oh, organics.
Nope, still nothing.
Man, it's gonna be so nice when y'all have tricorders again.
Uh,
You won't be having to do this shit.
Oh, that's great.
Okay,
What
so
if I have feelings?
so
I
as
hope not.
you all continue to push inward, yeah, the heat is coming off of this. It's not particularly intense, but it would suggest that there is still some kind of energy output from the wreck as you all push closer and closer. That being said, Martha, you are starting to realize that your heart is racing right now as you're all pushing through the snow. Doc, you will see that on the PDT chip. Martha looks like her adrenaline has kicked in a little bit. You're not sure if they've spotted something or if there's something that has changed, but you start noticing some of that fight or flight instinct is starting to slowly kick in on Martha.
Am I able to call out to Martha on the comms?
You still have comms, yes.
Is there any particular reason why your heart is running a marathon?
Walking around the wreckage of a ship. Pretty stressful.
All right. Well, if you find yourself in a pickle, do be sure to let us know.
Yeah. Eric, were we trying to open something? The heavy machinery check, was it to try to physically?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Mm-mm.
All right.
It's like to understand something about what we were seeing was my guess, but
Okay, gotcha. Then
Pretty
in that
much.
case, Martha will probably turn back to Tig and say, as much as I'd like to continue to follow this little mystery, maybe we should get back in and suit up properly.
yeah, backup might also be nice as soon as they can spare. Some Isaac's hands might be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more thing before we go inside. Martha's now going to look the other way for where the big footprints were coming from.
It looks the direction they are headed back off does not appear to be going anywhere. Looks like they sloped. It does not come from the direction of the facility, the research lab that you all know is here. It doesn't seem to be coming from that direction, which would be literally the opposite direction in which they were walking. Instead, it looks like they aren't coming from that direction at all. It looks like they're coming out from the large woodland area. And they've swerved around. It looks like they swerve around and then kind of arc towards the ship. But the thing that's probably most curious about this is about maybe 300 feet from the body of the wreck, which is about where you are all standing. They just suddenly stop, and there are no more tracks. There are nothing to indicate that there is any other tracks on the ground at all. It could be that they were filled in by the snow, because it looks like they were getting a little more difficult to follow. Also, the heat here has made it so that the snowpack has changed considerably as you guys have gotten closer and closer to the ship.
I mean, if it's snow haver over here, if it's warmer, the footprints would probably actually stand out more.
There would be a little melty spot
because it makes
the
it
snow.
Like it becomes more solid when it's wet. It becomes saturated with water, and so think like moon sand versus regular sand.
I haven't been on the moon very often. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's a children's toy. Like dry sand versus wet sand. Like stepping into it, warmer snow will turn into like wet sand. It would hold a footprint.
I think I know I can envision this from my childhood.
Noir, am I making sense? You're someone who has snow. You're muted. Still muted.
You're still muted.
Your software muted.
We heard that though.
I'm software muted. No, it does make sense because once you depress the snow, the depression actually thaws out faster than the rest of it, making the footprints a lot clearer and easier to follow.
So we just have to induce despair in the snow.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I just got excited about talking about snow.
I miss it.
We didn't get any this winter. Okay, no, quick before we go, are we at a place like? Is this ship open to us? Like you said, It was like half of the ship. It's just like sheared open.
You can see it looks like the interior has been exposed. There's a couple of decks that look like they've been exposed. A few of them, however, are like 6 stories up.
Fair.
But they look like it's very likely you can find places to access the ship inside.
Okay,
Plus,
I don't want to
rear
go.
half of the ship, so it's very likely the entire cargo facility is completely open to you all.
Cool. So I have this little motion detector.
Yes, you do.
Mhm.
I just want to take a quick peek.
Okay, you just pull it out.
Mm-hmm.
You activate it. And it immediately just starts sending out signals, pings. You just see the arcs of energy on the screen as some of the condensation that was on the screen itself, as you pull it out, immediately starts to freeze and fog up a little bit and kind of scoop it aside and watch. You don't see any motion.
Okay.
Okay. Martha will have already pointed the footsteps out to you, Tig, just to like we both see them. And then where the footsteps stop, it's like right at the ship, you said?
No, it's about 300 feet or so away from it. Yeah, about where y'all are standing right now.
The footprints were walking in that direction, or were coming from that, or walking.
They were
that
walking
direction?
towards the ship. Yeah.
No, wait, no. To where they disappeared.
They were walking towards the ship, and then they just stop.
And then they never like make it to the ship.
No, they stop
They
where
never
you.
make it to the ship.
No, they stop where you guys are standing right now, which is roughly 300 feet away from the ship.
I see.
I'm gonna like
Now I understand.
look, like trace like an arc from where the footstep stops to the ship.
Well, there's lots of debris around here. So there's lots of large, looks like sheared off pieces of hull all around you guys. Some of them are about waist high. Some of them come up to your knee, and some of them are the size of 2-story houses that are just laying next to you all. Looking up at the ship, again, the ship looks like a mountain of Durasteel and giant engines. You can also see debris of all kinds laying everywhere. But from here, for the most part, all you can see is just chunks of twisted metal. And you can kind of make out what looks like a distortion effect from heat being emanated from the back of the ship. Like it does on those days where it's really hot. You can see a little bit of just like waviness coming off like an engine that has just finished cooling down or maybe is still exuding heat.
Mm-hmm. Just a quick, drawing back to Tig's memory. We encountered a creature that was bipedal and quite large. Are these footprints comparable in scale to that individual?
If you want to spend an ox point, I'll let you say that Tig at any point looked at this creature's feet to make that kind of guess.
I was more going for like how tall it was because I knew it picked her up. Like I was up close and personal with it. So I was just trying to extrapolate from.
I mean, the creature that you encountered on Paxton's Reach easily stood 8 feet, maybe more. Probably about 8'3" or 8'4". Quite large, as they might say.
Yeah.
If this thing follows any kind of logical physiology of creatures of that size that are bipedal, it would suggest that there might be larger feet in order to help it, or wider feet to help it maintain that very awkward body shape at that height. However, who knows? It was clearly extraterrestrial. It was not human. So it's impossible to tell.
Okay. It's all right. I'm not gonna. Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna.
Well, can I say? That would be above table. I will say this to Tig. Tig, you see me like doing that, like tracing an arc, and I say, do you think they could have jumped up there? Like a very large, tall person or being could have jumped?
I mean, I probably couldn't have, but we've seen Stranger.
Right. We have seen Stranger. And I wonder if that stranger is here.
We should probably go.
Yep.
Back.
Yep.
We should probably go. Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
I love it because it's like, what I love about it is everyone watching, my dear Ox crew, you were looking at a group of people who, once encountering a dark basement staircase, don't go down the staircase where the killer might be. They look at staircase and go, yeah, no, not worth it. Turn around and leave the house.
Well, yes, but that's because there are stairs.
And there's also stairs. I mean, that's the real horror story.
Yeah. No, we're gonna break the window, the basement window. That's what's gonna happen. We gotta go the long way around, but we get there.
Or you just light a stick of dynamite with your cigar and toss it down there and close the door and be like, whoever's down there, they'll be fine. All right, you guys start heading back towards the ship. So in which case, this allows us to cut back to the Elios, because y'all are going to make it to the ship just fine. When you get back to the ship, I'm going to have Isaac, if you could please, I'm going to have you roll with an assist from Connor. Make a heavy machinery check.
Generate some stunts to make the repairs go faster.
Yeah, you could absolutely do such a thing.
All right.
You could indeed do such a thing.
So 1 die assist.
1 die assist.
All right. Thank you. Rolling. No.
Really? Okay.
I can't tell you how many effing dice I'm looking at.
I know. I was going to
Not
say,
a one.
this is literally the role you were designed for.
Yes.
Literally
Does Mother help
designed
at all
for.
with the diagnostics part?
Not with heavy machinery.
Not with heavy machinery. Yeah.
I
Okay.
have physical tools.
Yes,
that offer
that
me
makes
1
sense.
gear die for that.
Yeah.
Well, isn't
Great
that
start. Great start.
Well, what you discover is the Elios, on top of the cargo damage that she received, you and Connor make the very not happy discovery that she has also received thruster damage. It looks like some of the thrusters on the port side of the ship took some damage to the interior and are not functioning properly. This could make it dangerous for the Elios to try and attempt to take off. Never mind, it wouldn't be hard, it wouldn't be dangerous for you guys to jump to FTL, but escaping Atmo with a thruster that's not working properly is going to reduce the rating of the thruster, but it also makes it very difficult to maneuver. So basically, it's going to reduce the rating of the ship by 2, which is going to be up against Connor's roll. He could do it in a pinch. But the two of you are taking a good look at it. And after about 30 minutes of working on it, is about when Tig and Martha are coming back. Connor finally just kind of slumps down a little bit and looks at it and shakes his head and goes, we're going to need more time for this. This is way more extensive than I thought it was.
It's bad.
All right. Let's assume for a moment that whatever happens next is probably going to involve some of us going to that damn facility to find out what's inside and putting a stop to it, right? I think we all knew that was probably going to happen. So if we need to get out of here fast, we need the Elios working, which means one of us should stay here and work on her while everyone else goes and does the thing. And that's got to be me. Because I'm the pilot. And let's be honest, if there's any kind of running involved, it's not going to work out good in my favor. I'm a smoker, and I'm not quite the young man I used to be, so let's just face the facts here. So, I'm going to just roll up my sleeves and get to work on this. Got any input? Anything you want to add to that?
Do your thing.
Oh, you listening to that? You all back now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw some stuff.
Well, Isaac and I just got done digging around, and we discovered the girl's got some damage to the thrusters. It's going to require a little bit of work. A little more than I thought, so it's going to require at least a few hours.
Hence your very wonderful monologue there.
Yes, my heroic monologue, thank you.
Yes.
I think if it worse comes to worse, I can make it work, but don't have me maneuver like I did. Because if they fire another missile at us on our way out the door, I'm not going to be able to stop them.
Yeah, well, hopefully when we get over to that facility, we can power whatever that was down.
Good idea.
We saw some very large footprints out there, FYI. Like really large.
Are there species that live here?
Unknown.
Yeah. Maybe we will find out.
It would not be the first time that Wayland Yutani or anybody has set down on a planet that is capable of supporting life to discover that it indeed already has quite a few wild life forms living on it. The Colonial Marines have some horrifying stories about some of the large worms that they have encountered during the colony wars.
While Doc is by comms, is there any way I can see if there are any other radio signals coming or going?
Ooh, make a contact check.
Okay.
Good news is his mother will assist you on that, so you get to roll an extra die to that.
All right, Comtech. Thank goodness for the points I put in there.
Yeah, in the Colonial Marines guide, or in the core book, the Colonial Marines encounter a creature called the Harvesters. They're a naturally occurring life form. Typically, pretty much just like standard life forms, kind of doing their own thing, but they look like giant water bears, roughly 6 meters or more in length.
Whoa.
What's up, Sam?
Do you think the life form song every time you say that?
I do. In my head, I do.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
heard it and I wasn't sure if it was coming from you.
We're almost there, Sam. Just a few
I
more
will-
weeks.
I would like to take an ox point as well before I do this roll.
Okay, go ahead and make an ox point check.
All right.
Take that check and make that roll.
Okay, that's 2 successes and then the ox point, and I'll be
Nice.
putting that into chat
Okay.
or the
So
Discord.
2 successes total?
3 successes total.
3 successes total. Okay. So you do, in fact, uncover that there is some comms traffic. You're not able to make out entirely what it is, but with 2 successes, at least one of them will confirm that it is, in fact, the SOS signal in orbit that has received a reply ping indicating the Colonial Marines have indeed picked up the SOS on Hypercom's channels and have acknowledged it. In other words, Doc, you receive confirmation that the Colonial Marines have heard and are likely on their way.
I will relay the good news as soon as I get it, which is everybody else just sitting up here bored by myself, so I decided to try and find Odie's channel on the radio. Instead, I found the fact that Colonial Marines got the SOS, so I'd imagine it can't stay terrible, right?
Well, that's good news.
I mean, we tend to beat the odds, but I hope so. Hope good news.
Did this just happen now?
Huh?
We
Hmm? Oh, what? Wait, what?
I'm very pleased to report that we actually have a new super punk.
Oh!
As of 30 minutes ago. Your lordship, it is an honor to have you join the super punks.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Thank you.
Might save us later.
That, by the way, Ox Point will be brought to you on behalf of Lord Portico.
Hey, thank you, Lord Portico.
Came in clutch. There's one last thing Doc would like to do on the open radio.
Okay.
Vrella, can you hear me? Why don't we just get this over with? I know you've got to be tired of watching us dance. Just tell us where you are so we can finish it. And that's all he's gonna do.
Okay. You send it out, and you hear the ominous low hum of static on the other end of the line. You're not entirely sure if it was heard or not. But if she is capable of hearing anything through the comms, anybody who is within 2,000 kilometers of this transmission would have heard you put that out. All right.
I very briefly, I would like to have used being pessimistic over the radio as banter, so everybody can drop 2 points of stress if you would like.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. That being said, 1 second.
Should I pick them up?
Martha and Tig, please roll a single black die
Okay.
and tell me what you get.
1.
Okay. Both of you feel a little bit of nausea as you get back on board this ship. As the two of you get back on board, there's a moment where you're shaking some of the ice off, Tig, and you just feel a little woozy, and you stop for a moment. And Martha, as you're watching Tig do this, you suddenly feel like throwing up. You put your head against the wall instinctively for a second. Take a deep breath, and you manage to... You both are fine. Neither one of you gain a permanent point of radiation.
Okay.
And
Our suits don't do anything against radiation?
The suits you were wearing didn't do anything against radiation.
Environmental suits don't do anything?
Environmental suits will not protect you from radiation. You need a haz suit for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the same. You would need like a 0G suit, something like that. Your environmental suits will definitely protect you from the environment. They give you big bonuses to those kinds of roles. My understanding was you guys weren't even wearing those, though. Y'all just went outside in your standard fatigues and whatnot and took a look around. The plan was not to wander too far away from the ship, but then y'all smelled a mystery and ended up wandering too far away from the ship. But you also fucking Marines, so the cold, you just kind of shrugged it off and then made your way back. Nobody suffered any ill effects. Meanwhile, if this was Eric in real life, I'd be dead out there in the snow right now.
It's a lot. Negative 50 is pretty cold. It's not the worst.
No, but it's
the
that's
worst
like Alaska
I've ever
level
experienced,
cold.
but
That's Canada, that's Alaska, that's
me.
Yeah.
That's me.
Unacceptable.
Yeah. It's not cold. You want to stay out very long. So in this case, you guys basically roughed it out. But when you get back to the ship, it takes a moment, but you do see the telltale signs, like a slight reddish color to the sides of your face. At first, you just dismiss that as the cold. But as you're taking a closer look at it, you're not so sure. And then it starts to occur to both of you that there's probably radiation leaking off of a ruptured reactor at the end of that ship. Thankfully, I would say there's only a point of radiation, so it's probably weak. But if you're going to go inside the ship or get any closer, you're probably going to go on to get some protection.
Noted.
Good to know.
But you did neither one of you pulled a dock and racked up a permanent point of radiation, so you're okay.
Oh, it's a verb now?
Yeah.
Of the ways we could verb you, there could be worse.
Let's cut to a scene where all of you are all in the same room deciding on the next course of action. You have this downed ship. You have a facility that's about 2 kilometers from here, so it's going to be a little bit of a hike. It's going to take at least one shift to get over there. You're not entirely sure what part of the cycle you're in this planet or how long the days are here. The day doesn't look like it's changed all that much. The planet just has a naturally shadowy light to it. The sheer size of the gas giant seems to always position itself just enough where that sun, that beautiful white dwarf star, is just peeking over the horizon of the gas giant in the sky, creating a pretty haunting and spectacular view. But it does mean that it's a little dark out here. So that being said, it does mean that you at least don't have to anticipate the temperature dropping rapidly anytime soon. Looks like it kind of stays. You're getting the impression that the day cycles here are probably pretty long. What's up, Sam?
Question for contextual knowledge. Isaac should probably have, given they're rated to work on the nuclear reactors in this ship, but Sam might not. Is the ship with the leak going to endanger Connor?
No.
Okay.
Shouldn't,
so if he stays here and works on the ship
he shouldn't have a problem.
I don't have to fix that just for him to exist.
Right.
Okay.
He should be fine. If he goes outside, he should be totally fine. If he approaches the ship, he might, if he's not wearing a hazmat suit of some kind, he's probably gonna have to make radiation.
He shouldn't go outside. It's very cold there.
He probably doesn't want to go outside anyway. It's also worth noting, I'm not going to have you guys roll for this. It is also worth noting that the two of you are fully aware that any Colonial Marines craft like this has at least 6 nuclear warheads aboard. Where those are stored really depends on the classification of the ship, but typically those are in firing pods that are ready to go at a moment's notice.
But non-volatile.
No, they would not be in danger of blowing up unless you guys armed them and set them off. But
exactly.
You might actually have a couple of nukes on that ship. It's also worth noting too that if the cargo bay is intact, you might have access to an entire fucking armory on that ship. So that's worth pointing out.
So do we want to attempt to get equipment from the ship? Or do we want to go directly to the base?
What sort of equipment would we even be in pursuit of from the other ship?
Guns. Lots of guns. I think there would be lots of guns.
I was just thinking of Neo's quote in my head when Sam literally said it.
Wait, is that a quote?
In the Matrix.
Yes.
Goes, wait,
okay,
seriously?
What do you need? And Neo goes, guns. Lots of guns.
I swear to heaven.
I love it.
I love it. You accidentally cultured. I absolutely
love it.
It's Matrix and John Wick now, actually.
That one I definitely didn't, because no one warned me about the beginning of the first movie. And then I went home. Never. No, I couldn't. Anyway, yes. Guns.
Yeah.
Lots of guns.
Well,
But we stocked up before we left. Is there anything that...
I mean, if nothing else, it might be good to swing by that ship with full hazmat suits because radiation, we think. We might want to stop by there and see if anyone else was there and took away the guns that were probably there. Those footprints are still in my mind.
I guess how fast do we want to be moving here? Are we on a crunch? Whoever's here probably knows we're here. I mean, we didn't land that hard. I would expect they would assume we survived. Do we want to give them time? Is the question.
Connor pipes up at that point and says, I think, personally, that if you're going to go into this laboratory, you should expect that whoever's going to be in there is not going to want you there. I say, go move fast, grab whatever you want from that ship and get the hell over to where you're going because they might try to split before you get over there.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know how much time we want to give them. We've already spent, half hour planet side?
Move fast. That's what I say. We're probably on the clock right now anyway. And the Marines are coming too.
Yeah, we don't know when though.
Right.
Connor, are you sure you want to stay here with the ship?
Well,
They shot at us with a missile, and we're harder to see as little small people, and harder to hit with missiles. You would be in the ship that would be maybe easy to hit with missiles.
I mean, it's going to take more than a single missile to blow up the Elios. If they start shooting at me, I'll run for my damn life. but I would say we need someone here to get us off planet if things go south. I don't have to stay. I just think you should have a driver who's ready to put the pedal to the metal, as they used to say. You need a getaway car, as they used to say. And plus, the Elios needs work. We could just leave her the way she is, but if we need to get out in a pinch, she's going to fight us the entire way.
If you've got an extra, like, if we're gone for an hour, is that going to make a sizable difference, or do you need like a 12-hour repair period?
Isaac and I took a pretty good look at how bad the damage was, and it's not good. If I start working now, our chances are better, for sure. Okay. But yeah, if I don't start work now, I might as well just go with you, because there's probably not any chance I'll have it done by the time whatever happens in there. Plus, if you need me to come get you, I can bring the Elios to you. Otherwise, you're running 2 kilometers back to me. Do you know what I mean?
True. That's true.
We'll leave some weapons with you, but lock the doors, seal this puppy up.
Oh, I'm not going to let anyone in unless they look like you. Last thing I would say is, keep in mind, if worse comes to worse, there's a good chance that whoever's at that research facility came in their own ship. So if you've got to bail and you don't have time to make the run and I don't have time to get to you, just radio and let me know. Yeah, just radio and let me know. We can figure everything out when we're in the sky.
All right.
I want to make sure we have a plan to get the hell out as soon as we can.
Okay.
Yeah, I say we just go. I don't know if there's... We've got weapons, don't we? Like, we're locked and loaded.
Yep. You have 2 assault rifles. You have that wicked cool handgun that you took from a Weyland-Yutani assassin. And Connor has a revolver, a Colonial Frontier revolver. That's about it.
Dog has
really.
an ill-advised firearm somewhere.
That's right. There is a standard. Y'all basically have some pretty standard small arms fire, basically.
And I've done scary things with a bolt gun from time to time.
Yeah, I currently have an AK-40-47 pulse rifle, standard UPP, and then also an M41A pulse rifle.
So the standard issue Marine pulse rifle is a superior weapon. It's designed, they're made with a little more quality. Plus, they have an underslung grenade launcher, so that's always handy. You can get that kind of going. As Martha has reminded us again and again, they come with grenade launchers. Now, the kind of weapons you might find aboard a Colonial Marine assault frigate, if it's still intact, you will find everything that is made available to a fire team, which means everything from assault rifles to flamethrowers to fucking smart guns. You might even find more than that. There may be an APC inside there, which is essentially a goddamn tank. Like, it's entirely possible that is intact. I'm going to leave that to a roll of the die if you guys go over there. So I will give you this to decide. It will cost you some time. You have a chance of finding some good stuff, so it might balance out. What's up, Sam?
Does Isaac have any any advantage in land speed compared to the organics?
You do not have to.
Could Isaac hang back, and then try to catch up?
Isaac, you could essentially run like the T-1000. You do not have to slow down if you do not want to. You do not require the respiratory regenerative state that a biologic needs to when their muscles start to burn and oxygen requires getting to that bloodstream. You can just run indefinitely until your system needs repair. So I could quickly
survey the ship as the organic members of the team are moving up, see if there is anything quick. I'm reasonably, albeit not totally, radiation resistant.
True.
And
certainly more than
catch up with all of you.
Yeah. Isaac, you really do not have to worry about radiation until it starts hitting the strong radiation levels, which is weak radiation is 1 rad per shift. Strong is 1 rad per turn. And then there's extreme, which is 1 rad per round. Thankfully, you also have radiation detectors. So.
Yep. And acute radiation sets in within minutes to hours at about 75 rad.
You probably wouldn't have to worry about that as a synthetic. If it starts getting really severe, you'd be able to know. You can get out of there, and then Eliza can fix you.
Since we have the rad per minute, I'm just scaling the rad's concern for myself.
So I would say make a quick decision.
Personally, I think it's more of a priority that we repair the means of our escape, but that's just my opinion. Everybody here who is well versed with the weapon seems to already have one. If we are that desperate for more, I don't mind the walk.
I think we do need to check for weapons, and I like Isaac's proposal of running real fast to do that. But Isaac, if you get into trouble, you need to tell us right away so we can come help you.
And also be in trouble.
This is kind of reminding. This is just. This really just reminds me of when you only have about 5 minutes left and you can't. If you want to get that last harvester nest, you really need to send at least one person to take care of it while everybody else goes for the landing to call down the extraction in Helldivers 2.
If I don't do the optional objective, we'll have 3 stars. If we just send one person, we'll have 4.
If you want outstanding patriotism, you need to send at least one of you to go try to do the brave thing and blow up the nest. All right, so with that in mind, Isaac is going to, you guys are going to go ahead and do the quick split. Connor's going to stay here and get to work. And I have Connor's character sheet pulled up, so I will make a heavy machinery check on his behalf to try to get this going. I do give you guys the option of giving an NPC an aux point. So do keep that in mind. I'm not going to make the roll yet, though. With that, would you all like to suit up and start heading towards the research facility?
I think so.
Yeah, I guess we're splitting the party.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Only for the trip. Please do not engage in any sort of combat or anything that would require me without me.
Same here.
I promise I won't start it. If I'm fired upon, I have to respond, but you know.
And I can have I'll have Mother make sure that we have full comms communication during the entire thing.
Martha, do you want to encrypt us a channel real quick, or do we have a rollover from when we did that?
I'm letting you guys, because of that phenomenal roll towards the beginning of the campaign. Yeah. I'm letting you all keep that roll because it does specify with one of the stunts that you use that you do not have to roll for it again. Great. So you have an encrypted channel only to the Elios crew.
Sweet.
Yep.
Okay.
So with that in mind, you all meet up. Connor's on the other side of the airlock door as you all step outside into the frigid air. Again, it's very shadowy out here. You can see the Hulk in front of you. What's up?
Before we step away and split, I wanted to just say something to Isaac. Is now a good time to do that?
Well, yes, after that, I'm going to go into a radioactive ship.
Yes. Okay. Speaking of that, I just want to be super clear about what we saw.
Okay.
There are bodies, frozen, scattered about, lots of wreckage, mountain of wreckage, you might say. And we saw some very large footprints. Looked like booted, probably, but very large. So there might be someone there. Are we sure we want to send Isaac by themselves?
I think if we start second guessing ourselves, we're going to be here for the next 3 hours.
I'm 100% second guessing this.
We can't maintain both objectives with relative simultaneity if anybody else comes with me.
Isaac's the only one who can handle it on their own.
Yeah, that's true. Are we in our? Can we say we're in all of our the thermal regulation?
We're on the other side of the
biohazard suits. Everything. Okay.
Yeah. We are suited up as high as we possibly can.
You can only see this.
Okay. So,
okay.
Game rules. Let's go
if we're all
gear.
Going forward, then
suits and armor. And y'all are in. So there is biohazard suits, which you all have. Biochemical tenants, built-in comms, protection against chemical and biochemical. No, that's not going to do it. It's because it's a biohazard suit. You guys have. There it is. Yeah. All-world survival suits, which I remember you guys were given at the beginning of the campaign. So the all-world survival suits, EVA. Oh, they're hard suits. Oh, so this is actually closer to what they wore in Prometheus. Y'all are actually wearing the full-on bodysuit with the glass case, sort of almost astronaut-like front cover. Self-articulating fingers offers a limited range of mobility, but the maximum amount of protection from hazards of space. The helmet, this is an all-world survival suit, though. So it works in 0G. It also works, it has an armor rating 4. You guys have a limited air supply of 6, and it is considered heavy. So you guys aren't going to be doing any heavy running in this suit. I will also allow
comparable equipment.
I would also allow expedition fatigues, I think, are also available to you guys.
Yep, we grabbed
Expedition
those.
fatigues are these are thermal regulating undersuits that come in a variety of blue, grays, and emergency oranges. They add a +1 modifier to stamina checks when you're resisting heat, cold, or vacuum.
Definitely would like to have those on.
Those are light. You can do running in those. No problem.
I also have down here 2 Kevlar vests with comm unit armor 4.
So if you're going to wear a Kevlar vest, you're not going to be able to put on that eco suit. You're going to probably want to wear the thermal and just
the suit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're not going to be able to put them both on.
Is the suit also working as armor?
The eco suit has an armor rating of 4.
Oh,
so it's about
great.
the same.
Then we're good. So
but
whoever...
it's heavy, so you're not going to be running in it very well.
Right. Well, we won't die of exposure.
That is true.
And we can probably
I
take it off
appreciate
when
it.
we get there.
There is a professional hazmat suit. Each time you suffer a point of radiation, roll. Absorbed. Yeah, it's absorbed by the suit.
Okay.
So the professional hazmat suit is what Isaac can wear if they so choose. There's 2 of those aboard the Elios in the engineering compartments. Yeah.
Do I require any of computers operate better at these temperatures, frankly? Do I require the thermal elements at all?
So long as the temperature doesn't drop dangerously, it should not be a problem for you. You can survive in the vacuum of space. So unless there is a sudden dramatic shift in like the moisture and temperature levels, you should be fine, Isaac.
Which we already have cause not to anticipate based on.
Even if it did happen, it would only slow you down. It would not, like if you froze, that would just slow you down.
Yes, but the time is a factor here.
It is a factor.
That is the core.
Yes.
That was the core concern. Okay.
But
Then
you can exist in the vacuum.
Or
So.
wear body armor stuff, which sounds like probably the most efficient use of my torso.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I suppose I will probably do that.
Okay, so you're gonna wear the Kevlar then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
If that's all right with everybody.
Yes, please.
Yeah, please put that on.
Okay.
This-
With that, the party splits.
Martha just gives Isaac another squeeze.
Anything I should bring with me to facilitate contact to you?
You want a chance to think about that because I'm going to take us to the break a little bit early.
Okay.
Since y'all are about to split.
Since you're about to split.
And that could give you the next 10 minutes, Eliza, to look at the equipment and see if you want Isaac to keep their eye out for anything that you think you might need for this. But
Great.
just keep in mind, Isaac is going to be limited to how much they can bring back. If Isaac decides to bring back a smart gun, there's very little else Isaac is going to be carrying. That is going to be
I
a
can
huge.
carry lots of stuff if there's a tank.
That is
Oh, I
true.
need the tank.
If you
I just
find
need
an
one
if you
tank.
find an
There it is.
APC and it's right side up and you can get it out of the ship, then
Then I'll
You-
have a tank.
you will have a damn troop carrier to
I'll
drive
be
into
very
this.
tankful.
I am going to leave that to a roll. So
Okay.
we will see.
Okay.
Okay. So why don't we do this? You guys give your quick hugs real quick as you decide to separate. The rest of you are marching towards this facility about 2 kilometers from here. So you got a bit of a hike. And what's waiting for you at that facility? God's only knows, but you are all anticipating seeing the face of Varela once more. Isaac, you march towards this burning hulk of a downed marine craft. Something happened here after the crash, and it's not clear what. You don't know what you're headed into. But if you are able to find things that could help, it could change the entire course of this mission. So, with that, as the doors close behind you on the Elios, And Connor watches all of you begin to walk away from the frosting window, his hand up, and he pats it, wishing you all you can hear him over the comms, good luck, as he pats you all on the window and watches you all walk away. He takes a deep breath, hefts his works belt over his shoulder, and immediately heads back down to C deck, or up to C deck, where he can start to work on the thrusters right away. That is going to take us to our break. We're going to be back in 10 minutes. We're going to take it a little early tonight so we can give the players some time to come up with a checklist of things. Keep in mind, Isaac, you're only going to be able to bring back a limited number of items. So we'll determine that. We will see you all in 10 minutes. Welcome back. We're going to go ahead and just jump right in. So, party is split. I'm going to give you guys the option of where we go first. So, who would like to take the first scenes here? We have Isaac and we have the party and then the meetup. Plan is that Isaac is going to scout out the ship while you all continue to advance on the facility. And then Isaac is going to try to use their synthetic abilities to catch up. Who would like to go first?
Does it make sense for Isaac to go first?
It can.
Probably.
It feels
It
like,
can.
yeah. Feels like
Oh,
that's
okay.
the move.
Because then, and then we get us moving, and then we get you catch up. We get a little sandwich.
Sure.
See, I was gonna let you have the dramatic irony of being ahead, and then
Oh, that's
catching
fair.
up with whatever horrible things you've gotten yourselves into before I
That's
catch
kind of
up.
fun. That's kind of fun. How do we feel?
But I mean, if you think I get into more trouble, I'm happy to go first.
Okay. Isaac,
Yes.
any moment you glance over your shoulder to look back at the Elios that is roughly 300 feet away from you now, you can see the group of Tig, Doc, and Martha is starting to vanish into a large tree line about 1,000 feet away or so and kind of disappearing off over a rocky horizon. Eventually, you find yourself out here by yourself. Very much the situation what I described to them. You're trudging through the snow. You haven't caught sight of any of those footprints that they mentioned, but you do see a lot of the bodies that they talked about. You see a couple of them laying on the ground. One of them looks like it has been disturbed, like somebody has rolled it over and then situated it back into place. Having the story of how they were discovered, you can kind of figure that that's the one that Martha had discovered.
Right.
Otherwise, you continue to advance towards the ship. Is there anything you would like to do on your advance? Or do you just want to make your way inside?
With the stimuli as presented, I think I go ahead. If there's something
Okay.
I should, if I should make a check to see whether I see, but I think we know the lay of the land. I
Mhm.
can proceed. It was reported to me after fairly thorough investigation. So proceed.
Yeah. As you continue to advance, you start tracking. The temperature starts to go up rather sharply as you get closer to the vessel. You're able to kind of get a sense that it would appear that some of the metal here has been superheated, possibly by a leaked reactor. It's impossible to tell from this distance, but it's not unusual for a wreck that's this size to be burning hot after the length of time that it has been. However, you only see a couple of smoke trails rising from the debris, indicating that if there is a fire or if there is still burning going on inside, it at least doesn't look like it's out of control. Your odds of finding something salvageable within are quite good from the looks of this. And you continue to push your way in, and you reach the point eventually where the ground begins to completely turn from snow to just heavy, coarse rock. Some of this rock looks like it's been melted. Some of it looks like it's been crushed underneath the weight of this ship that had smashed down to the side of the mountain. And as you get closer, you do see that there are plenty of breaches and tears in the side of this bulkhead that could get you access to the interior of the ship. Your instruments also start clicking and reading that there is indeed low levels of radiation in the area, but you don't see them ticking any higher. The temperature outside your suit is roughly 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Give those of us on the incredibly distorted and incredibly confusing freedom units a sense of exactly how hot it is.
I think it makes tons of sense to make the zero temperature the coldest thing you happen to know how to make, rather than using the temperature of the planet's most common solvent. Anyway, so is this ship the same floor plan as the marine ship we were on before?
Hard to say. With only the back end of the ship available, you can only make an educated guess that it might be the same class, but it's impossible to tell when half the ship is missing. The back end thrusters of it look like it might have been comparable in size, but possibly a little bit smaller. You're muted for some reason. Your mic
because
was...
I muted myself like a twit. Why? I mean, I don't know what other kind of reason you expected.
You were just like random...
I just figured...
Felt like, yeah.
So then I won't be able to rely on any previous knowledge for where I ought to go necessarily in this ship. Therefore, I'll just have to take educated guesses based on I've seen a fair number of ships and I know where something's more likely to be the engine room than the armory, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I presume if there are tons of breaches, the cargo bay is probably relatively easy to access. That's the kind of thing that tends to have good in-out access, and if bunches of the ship are missing.
The size of that room of the ship does make it more likely that it is easier to access, but it really depends completely on the condition of the interior of the vessel. If it is collapsed inwards, you might have to get really clever at finding access points. That is going to require a check, though.
Okay, yep. No,
So, however, the good
Yep.
news is this is going to be a heavy machinery check because working your way around ships like this is kind of your bread and butter.
Thank you, bread. Thank you, butter.
This is
I
what you
love
do.
Those things. Those are great for me.
Mm.
There, 3 successes, please. Thank you.
3 successes. Nice. So with 3 successes, you are actually going to get, with a heavy machinery check, +1 to a later related roll. You don't need to roll for this again. You wouldn't need to anyway. Half the usual time, break it permanently. You act quietly. You show off. You have 2 feet. You have 2 stunts you could use here.
I have 2 feats. What is the scope of related roll here?
Scope of related roll?
What would you define as a related roll to the one I just made?
If you needed a quick getaway, or like if you needed a quick access point, or any kind of other access point, like if like something collapsed and you needed another way out.
Okay. Then I will take that, and I will take halftime. Anytime I can get halftime on these rolls, I'm going to try to have to work down the halftime so that I have best chance to catch up.
In which case, you find yourself a nice, what looks like collapsed air shaft that clearly opens up through a breached part of the hull into a much larger space down below. You start to realize, well, fine, Sam, if you didn't want to play, you could have just said something. You could have just... I mean, you didn't have to... There, thank you.
Look, that's just because I'm twit and I
This is
hit the
Sam,
camera button and not the mute button.
Sam is so excited about Star Trek that they're already engaging cloaking devices. All right, with that in mind, the Excelsior refit, supposedly, before it actually hit the airwaves, actually did have a cloaking device, but they ended up getting rid of that whole... Anyway, fun fact.
Well, but nothing stopping you from giving me, Isaac, one cloaking device today. Get your cloaking devices at cloaks.com.
Cloaks.com. So you're able to see that it does look like it has an expansive opening at the very bottom. In other words, you find a very quick junction point that'll let you literally just sort of Goonie slide into the cargo bay. You just kick your feet out in front of you, and you hear some of the bit of the scraping noises of your biosuit against the metal as you go sliding down this, what would appear to be one of the exhaust vaults. And as you slide out the other end, there's about a 6-foot drop as you come down onto your knees on what appears to be a partially broken catwalk that is slanted a little bit to the side. You grab hold immediately without having to force you to make any kind of check here. Since you succeeded on your roll, I'm not going to punish you for it. You reach up and grab hold of the railing that is still intact. And indeed, you find yourself looking down upon what looks like a cargo bay that is currently listing at about 50 degrees. It does look like there is some sunlight coming through the back end of the room, which means at least from this angle, it looks like there might be access points leading out to other parts of the ship, or at least outside of the ship. Whether it's a breach or maybe an open cargo door is not entirely clear just yet. But from the angle that you're sitting at right now, 50 degrees is a pretty sharp list, but it does look like there is stuff scattered about all over the cargo facilities. You also notice that the emergency lights are still working. They're flashing these yellow strobing lights all over the place. No alarm is blaring, however, though. indicating that the ship's comm systems, mother unit, everything has probably been offline for some time.
Yes, I think if one were having a reactor leak, one would probably have all alarms if they sensed and functioned. So everything is just tossed around the cargo bay. Are the straps broken? Are these just the objects that weren't strapped down? Are there still a lot of things that are
Looks
strapped
like it was
down? Because space flight.
looks like it was, from what you can tell, they look like objects that were not strapped down.
Okay.
Lots of debris scattered about the place. You do see a couple of canisters that would indicate some kind of fuel rods or maybe even oxygen tanks, things that are explosive and you do not want flying around the ship, possibly empty, but it looks like they've been tossed about. Either that or they're volatile and just waiting to go off. There's no doubt in your mind, as somebody who is quite versed in heavy machinery, that there are probably some explosive death traps laying around here just waiting to pop if somebody were to handle them incorrectly, as it is a crashed marine vessel.
Yeah. Well, okay, but here's the deal. I'm going to try to not be exploded by them.
Good call.
Yeah.
Because while these warheads and such will not go off, unless extreme circumstances are met, there are things that are beyond the control. So, for example, if there are ammo crates that are being subjected to extreme heat, ain't nothing you can do about that. They're going to go off.
Some things are heat, some things are kinetic energy, and it's really dependent on the particular chemical composition to figure out which.
But it does look like from where you are, at least from here, that it looks like, of course, in the event of a landing like this, everything that needed to be secured was. You might find some pretty valuable materials down here.
So the emergency lights are on. It is at least possible that Mother isn't presently functioning. I presume that any interface then looks dark if I see one in here.
You move over to a wall unit that looks like it would be a Mother interface. And this is an advanced Mother unit, certainly more advanced than you have on the Elios. The screen is completely dark. And the keys, which are not those heavy, thick, retro-styled keys, but in fact more of a flat keyboard, they are also flickering off and on with backlight. But the screen is dark. You can see a pretty distinct crack moving down the center of it and arcing off to the left portion.
Okay, then there's no chance I'm going to get a cargo manifest or anything from around.
Very unlikely, yeah.
Be digitized. So is there transparent to me, a person who's dealt with a lot of cargo, but also is just looking at this room, any kind of a sense, if I could just open a box at random, do I have anything better than that?
Well, this is going to be an observation check.
I wish you hadn't said that.
Well, actually, no, I'm once again going to make this heavy machinery check. This is a cargo bay. You are going to know exactly where to look.
Your check is in the mail, Eric Campbell.
It's not a problem. As soon as you move about some of the decks, you're going to be able to spot all the areas that indicate that they are for storage of heavy machinery, heavy parts, and the armory, of course, is here to be loaded up onto. Yes, you do in fact see what looks like to be an intact drop ship, which is currently laying somewhat at an angle off of its landing struts. It does not look like it is upright. However, it might be flyable if you can get it out.
Eric, you buried the lead. Forget those boxes, my dude.
Yes, there is a dropship inside this. It is, in fact, the exact same classification dropship that you see in the show, in the movie Aliens. So it is a combat dropship, but it does not look like it is standing appropriately on its landing struts. It looks like it has been knocked off of its angle and is kind of laying on the ground. However, it looks intact. It does not look, and its wings are folded in, so it looks like it just got knocked over when the ship rattled itself to the side.
Okay. We're in a cargo bay. Is there a loader?
Searching for a loader, you will find a loading dock where the loaders are kept. The doors are currently sealed closed, and it looks like the blinking yellow light would indicate it as an emergency procedure. They've been locked in place.
Okay, but what if they weren't, though?
If they weren't, upon opening the door, there is a chance, if they were not secure inside that room, that when you open the door, a loader might come tumbling out towards you.
Okay, noted. But if I were to, I presume, and correct me if I have incorrectly read the mass of the dropship involved relative to Isaac's capabilities, but I think if I wanted to write that dropship, I would need the loader to do it, and therefore I have to take the risk that it's going to drop on my face, no?
Technically, where you're at right now is a 50-degree angle. So the catwalk you're on right now is pretty steep. It looks like it's angled up. When you get down to the deck itself, the angle levels off considerably and is no longer at a definite no way can you do this angle. It looks like it's more of at about 20 to 18 degrees. So it's doable. The ship itself has listed just slightly to its left side. And you are seeing daylight punch through somewhere towards the back of the cargo bay. Opening
like
the,
I have to scout that out to look.
You're going to have to scout this out, but it is entirely possible that opening up the loader bay will not cause any immediate danger. But even at 20 degrees, that's enough to cause something to tip over and head towards you if it's not secured.
But
However,
it's prerequisite to get the dropship up.
Well, yeah, getting the dropship up would definitely require a loader if you were going to push it over. Yeah.
Yep.
Would definitely require a loader.
I need a drop. Eric.
Yep.
Eric, you know we all know where this is going.
And listen, the thing is even if you get that thing straight up, you're going to have to figure out if it's going to be able to fit through whatever opening is still available to it. And if it can, Connor better be the best goddamn pilot he's ever been in his life, because that's going to be a lot more dangerous than the trench run on a Death Star. That is going to be a tight exit route.
Well, it's a good thing he's very nearby, and we can put him in the danger suit so that he doesn't take ambient gamma danger.
Okay.
So yes, first thing, open door. Second thing, retrieve loader. Third thing, right the dropship. Fourth thing, get Connor to come here and be pilot. 5 things, fly through tight exit. 6th thing, profit.
I tell you what. We're going to play a little loose here because I just want to keep things moving, and I also want to play with a little bit of the drama that you're happening. If you are willing to burn 3 ox points, I'll give this to you.
Eric, I can't do that to my crew.
Otherwise, I'm going to roll the dice and it'll be whatever I roll stands.
Yeah, it's got to be that way. I cannot do that to the organics. That would screw them over really badly. And I would not feel good with that, y'all.
All right. I'm going to roll 3 dice here.
Okay. Please don't let things fall on my head.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
So you're going to move towards the back of the vessel.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
As you move towards the back of the vessel, the daylight you're seeing, it looks like one of the cargo ramps that is folded inwards, and this is part of what looks like what you're guessing is part of like a docking mechanism for interstellar docking. So it looks like perhaps while this ship was in space, this is a place where other ships can dock. It looks like it's been folded inward, and the daylight you're seeing is because the back end of the ship has actually been pressed upwards towards the sky. Almost like a fender bender has kind of smashed up the rear of the car a bit up into itself. You could easily crawl through this space and exit. You don't know how big of a drop is waiting for you on the other side, but you're guessing it's probably not safe for an organic to try. There's no way a drop ship fits through this. It's very likely that you could get equipment over the top of this, but anything bigger than like any kind of heavy equipment, very unlikely.
Okay. Any other potential candidate exits?
Yes. There's probably, you can see there's other spots that look like they go deeper into the vessel. There have been some like doors have been ripped open and torn open, lead into corridors. You don't know how far those open up, but it looks like they lead up into the vessel. If you're willing to do some climbing, you might be able to get deeper into the ship, but it would move you away from the cargo bay.
Yeah. All right. So no dropship, which is fine. I'm not sad at all. Not sad at all.
I rolled 3 1s on that, unfortunately.
No, I understand. I made a choice. I did it for the benefit of my team, which is frankly what this whole journey is supposed to be about anyway. If I got them a bunch of cool guns and they didn't have the ox points to hit when they shot them, then it would not be useful to them. So I think I've got to...
run away. Sorry.
Find what I can find.
Mhm.
Where I can find it. This is not where armory stuff would be. So I think I will have to follow the direction that you've described.
Well, the armory does have access points here because they take
Okay.
weapons and whatnot and load it directly onto the drop ships.
Okay.
So the armory is literally just to the side of the cargo bay. You do see it is currently sealed, but that hasn't
what if it
stopped
weren't?
you. What's that?
What if it weren't?
You move over to it. You're kind of leaning a little against. These are the Colonial Marines bulkheads that are sealing the armory. This is going to be a tough heavy machinery roll.
Okay.
So you can use your tool that you use to open doors.
Yes.
Because of the nature of the store, though, it is going to be at -2 dice.
Okay.
So go ahead and make your check.
It's going to be really fun when I come back with absolutely nothing after all this time.
No go?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rocks point, you want to keep it?
You want to take the axe point?
It's up to you.
Up to y'all. I have no emotional investment in my success.
Do it! Take it.
Okay.
Yes? Ox point?
Yes. I will take
Okay. This ox point comes to you from Duran 452. And you get one success. The door, you manage to hear that hissing sound as the hydraulics fight against you. But Isaac, you manage to use that incredible strength along with the tool to start slowly pushing the door apart. It's not like opening a standard bulkhead. There are security procedures. And you're actually fighting against some of the safety hydraulic systems that are keeping these doors closed in the events of emergency. The bulkhead is also, the doors to this is also a standard like 4 feet thicker than a standard door. So it is taking a lot to get this open. However, as you open it, as a result of the dice roll, pushing it off to the side, you glance into a room that is red, just glowing red from all the emergency lights. And you see from wall to wall these cages that are filled, fully stocked with every imaginable weapon available to a fire team in the Colonial Marines. You see a rack of 4 flamethrowers. You see an entire wall of pulse rifles that are just lined up and locked into place, along with a couple of crates that look like they are used for the loading devices of grenades. You see what looks like a small minigun that attaches to the side of a holster, straps onto a body harness. You see every kind of fire team weapon that is available to the Colonial Marines, all secured inside of these storage lockers that line the entire room. The room itself is about 15 feet by 8 feet, and it's just weapons wall to wall.
You ever go into like a collector's shop kind of place? Say you're not into comics and you go into a comic shop and you're like in someone else's toy store.
Mm-hmm.
I know that someone would have big feelings about this room and all of the many ranged death instruments that it has. I'm not the target audience for that content, unfortunately. Martha, if there were all of the weapons, what should I get? I can't get a dropship, I checked.
Flamethrowers. Like, no question.
Okay.
If you want, I can list you some of the weapons that you see.
Wait, did you actually ask that in character?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I was told there are open comms. I use
yes.
them. I don't know what to get.
We can skip ahead to you telling me there are flamethrowers, and that's how I respond.
I can tell you that if you want to relay what you're seeing to Martha, Martha and Tig both can tell you exactly what you're looking at.
Oh yeah, no, I need them to go shopping for
Okay,
me. If I
so
just
then
tell them
that-
everything.
That is how, through the narrative, I can list you what weapons are available in this locker. So first of all, I will tell you that there are 2 M5A3 RPG launchers. There is 2 Aramat U4A2 repeating grenade launchers. And there is one M78 Pig phased plasma infantry gun. So you can, if Elisa, do you have access to the Colonial Marines PDF?
Yep, I'm looking it up.
Yeah, y'all have access. If one of these just sounds cool, but essentially, you guys, there's also crate after crate of handheld thrown M40 grenades, medium range, used by hand, blast 9. They are vicious and destructive. There's a couple of flares as well for calling in drop ships and such. There's a couple of claymore mines for traps. There is plenty of protective gear. You see what looks like the standard armor sets for the Colonial Marines. There's also a couple of specialized pieces of gear, like a ghillie suit and such. And yes, you do see at least what look like two very large, very high caliber looking sniper rifles.
Sniper rifles.
As you go shopping, please be aware my encumbrance is 16.
And what would each of these be of that?
The weight is listed on there.
Okay.
Things usually nothing 1 or 2 is generally most weapons.
I'm the person who brings in all the grocery bags without taking the second trip today.
Okay.
I feel like just for the consistency of it all, I think Martha should have something with a lot of grenades.
Yeah, we're definitely getting some grenade launchers for sure, because those have proven to be quite effective.
So to keep this simple so that we don't linger too much on trying to figure out what the heck we need, you do have full access to any pistols that you can see here, pretty much anything that is Colonial Marines in nature. So there's not there you can find a couple of 357s, but there's also M4A3 service pistols, which are in the standard Alien Core book. But yes, there are indeed flamethrowers in here, as you had hoped. There is an entire rack of M41A pulse rifles, your good old standard issue badass Colonial Marines assault rifle that do the job quite well. It armor piercing, full auto, and has a grenade launcher. It's kind of the Swiss Army knife of badassdom among the Colonial Marine Corps. And there is 2 smart guns also loaded up onto the side with fully belted. The last thing also probably worth pointing out. You also see what looks like 12 helmets that all come equipped with radio transceivers, headsets, and cameras. So you actually have the option of having full feeds to everybody if you want to keep track of everyone.
If I can do that, great. I don't know
how many
hats I'm going to wear on my hat. But
it really depends on what you want to do, because if you want to start just tossing some of these weapons outside the door and then have your boy come and get them and you guys load them up, but it's up to you.
I mean, I can basically put a weapon rack on my back with 16 encumbrance.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of what's an efficient way to carry this, because eventually you run out of limbs. Well, I think I can just wear a rack.
The good news is the flamethrower incinerator units are actually quite small. They're only they are actually weight 1. They are not huge in size.
Great. All right, fun for the whole family.
Yep.
So
they do have a rather sickening Wayland Yutani logo up on every canister of the fuel, however. But that's
I
just
love that. It's
capitalism.
something about razors and blades, and I guess if we set Wayland Yutani on fire, it would be ironical. So perhaps people who are shopping the weapons that they might want to use can shop. My impression is that there's nothing that's really going to goose a close combat check, which bluntly is the only thing that is not represented by these weapons that would fit into me.
Allow me to intervene here. So essentially what's going to happen is Isaac doing this is going to deliver the narrative of each of you being able to pick which weapons you want from the Colonial Marine Weapons Guide. As well as the main core book. So long as it is a Colonial Marine issue, Isaac can bring it to you. If it's going to be a large weapon, then that's your pick, and Isaac can't get more than 1 large weapon out the door. So if you pick something like a smart gun or one of the big like RPG launchers, that's the only big weapon the group gets.
Makes sense. We're more bottlenecked by action economy than varieties of guns.
So Isaac's scene is wrapping up, y'all can pick these weapons. And if anyone has anything they want to pick specifically that's large, just let me know. Otherwise,
any chance as we're shopping, I can just make a quick, like they're shopping over comms, make a quick ops check just to see if there's anything cool plot oriented on the ship before I bounce.
yes.
Just cool plot stuff. I just want a cool
you
plot
may.
roll real quick.
Go ahead and
Thank
make an
you.
observation check.
I don't want to leave somewhere that might have plot in it without looking for plot. That's so much more interesting to me than the guns. I'm sure they shoot real good.
I always have something.
Oh my god!
Okay, what'd you get?
4 successes.
4 successes.
The dice were waiting. They said, we're not here for guns. We're not here for guns.
We're not here for guns. We're not here for drop ships.
Okay,
but
Isaac.
we'll be here for your most mediocreest. Wow, I rolled 5 dice.
Wow. Wow.
That one, yeah, hence me shrieking. So I'm sorry I startled you, Ferocious Puppy.
Yeah, ears. Yeah, Isaac, well done, first of all.
Okay, thank you. Cheers.
Indeed, Isaac. So as you were hefting up the weapons and climbing up the back end to get a good look at how far the drop is on the other side of the ramp as you're making your way, sitting there, mostly right side up on the other side is not a tank, but an XT-37 Stinger, which is a fast attack assault vehicle that is capable of seating 4 people. It has spray painted on the side of it, Happy Larry, whatever that meant, and it has a big smiley face painted on with spray paint off to the side. It is essentially the Colonial Marines version of a Warthog from Halo. And it does, in fact, have a mounted weapon system on the very back, a very large gun that has currently been unlocked from its safety position and is kind of waving a little bit in the wind, almost like it was trying to get your attention. It is slightly overturned up against a rock. If you had not looked out this ramp, you would have completely missed it because it looks like it's behind huge, torn, ripped up pieces of hull that have been twisted and mangled over the side, perfectly hidden in what looks like a ruptured alcove of this broken ship.
Eric, you're a good friend.
It is 4 meters long. It has on the back of it a 50 millimeter double-barreled cannon with 4 Hellcat light missiles. Its top speed.
Okay, you're a very good friend.
Its top speed is 220 kilometers an hour, and it is all terrain. It looks like it has these thick, heavy wheels built into the side of it. This is a attack craft that Marines use mostly to get people in and out fast and to back up any infantry or assaults to ride behind tanks.
Oh, that also means you're going to be able to bring us a lot more of those guns now.
Well, when you roll 4 successes.
Wow.
So you don't know much about weapons, Isaac, but you do find yourself grinning as you look at this fast assault. Happy Larry is just sitting there waiting for you as you glance down at this thing. And
he's happy. I'm happy to meet him.
This is, if you want to take a look at it, this is in the Colonial Marines Operation Manual on page 84 of the PDF. You will see what I am looking at. Yes, it 4 people can fit into it. The 5th person can stand in the very back manning the big gun. And that gun does considerable amounts of damage to anything it shoots at. It is a 50 millimeter cannon.
What's it called again?
It's called an XT-37 Stinger fast attack vehicle, but it has Happy Larry spray painted on the side with a big, in white spray paint, crudely just sprayed with a big smiley face on the side. The one in the book just says Peacekeeper.
It looks like a death jeep.
Oh, I want to do donuts in it immediately.
Oh, too bad you're not driving this one. I get this one.
So,
well, we see where a lot of this is going. Yeah.
At 220 kilometers an hour, if you drive that thing, you're going to easily catch up to your team as they are running through the snow.
Get in, losers.
Yeah.
Okay, so how's this? So as to keep it moving, maybe as people draw weapons and they become relevant, they can declare the thing that I had pulled, since we're pulling
Sure.
from the book anyway.
Yeah.
So
I
that
don't
way
want
we can
to
just get in, we can keep it moving.
agreed. I
and
don't
then
want to
we
get
will
hung up on
find when
this.
it's plot relevant.
Yes.
What all I grabbed, because between this vehicle, my cucumber, and we can bring whatever needed to have been brought from within that list.
Essentially,
with the one large weapon restriction.
Essentially, making the deciding as a group to make the decision to separate the group and have Isaac do this essentially unlocked your ability to pick weapons from the Colonial Marines guide. However, based off of Sam's roll, you got a big bonus for that, because 4 successes is monstrous when they have such a pathetic observation check.
You've been memeing on me all season.
It's so true, though.
It was waiting. The dice were just waiting for this.
Yeah. So this is going to change the landscape a little bit, but essentially that's, however, there is, as I mentioned before, just as we move the plot forward, I do want to point out that with the trade-off was that I am still moving the shifts forward. However, because of Sam's 4 successes and the ability to catch up to you guys, it is actually going to nullify any time passage penalties that I was going to put on y'all for shift passage, because with a fast attack vehicle like this, you were going to be able to clear the distance of 2 kilometers in about 10 minutes or so. So yeah, that is actually going to enable us to skip rather dramatically ahead. I'm going to make some quick rolls for the other team here, but Isaac, essentially, you are going to be able to easily get all the weapons onto this, and without having to worry about how much time it took because of how much time you're going to save driving towards your team.
I'm going to see you soon, really soon. Don't be alarmed by how soon it is.
No.
If you can't imagine this, in the cockpit window of the Elios, as Connor goes back up to the flight deck and sits into his chair for a second, takes a sip of the cold coffee and kind of regrets it, then starts flipping some switches and testing how the power is moving through the systems that he just repaired. He glances out the window and goes, "Oh, no way," as he leans over just in time to watch Isaac on this thing drive past at top speed, just, and he goes, "Fuck yeah, Isaac." As you race, snow just exploding behind the wheels of this fast attack car, you drive towards that tree line. Really, with that sort of nullification of the passage of time to get to you guys, it's only like a cut swipe scene later where a lot of you are trekking through this gorgeous, dark, shadowy wilderness, when you start hearing the rumbling, the very not subtle, like loud, busting muffler noise. Caitlin, Tig and Martha both would recognize this sound. The 2 of you meet eyes as you hear it.
I think there's a moment of oh shit, we've got company, and then oh shit, we've got company. Like as we recognize what happened.
Yeah, indeed. A few moments later, Doc, you glancing back over your shoulder, you indeed see Isaac, Santa synth, come driving up over the hill with this huge attack vehicle and weapons piled onto the back of it. Isaac, you have access to the PDT chips, so it takes no effort at all to discover where your party is. They got maybe about half a kilometer away from you before you drive up on them and just stops right next to you all.
You got room for some stragglers?
I was told maybe I shouldn't pick up hitchhikers. But I think I'll make an exception.
Isaac, you scored.
I'm clambering in immediately. Like
Welcome to Happy Larry.
hooting and
Please
hollering.
view all arms and legs and firearms inside of the vehicle at all times, unless it would be cool.
Okay, so real quick, because I just found it. Write this down. Somebody write this down, because this is going to become very important later. But on page, looks like 97 of the PDF and page 96 are vehicle weapons. This has a 50 millimeter double-barreled cannon that does plus. Oh my god! So it does plus 3 damage, plus 3 bonus to hit. The base damage is 4, which I don't know if you know that, but in this RPG, that is a ton of damage for a base. It has long range, and it, of course, just like every Colonial Marines weapon, it is armor piercing and does full auto.
4 base damage kills me twice.
Dude, four base damage with armor piercing will fuck anything up.
That might hurt me.
It also has 4, I believe, was it called Hellfire missiles?
Wasn't it the Hellcat light missiles?
Hellcat, thank you. Hellfire actual missiles. So mark this down.
So we also have the 2 bonus die 5 damage missiles.
Yeah.
Lovely. That'll be fun.
Where are those listed? I just want to keep track of these real
That's
quick.
immediately above the double-barreled cannon in the list.
Hellcat light missiles are +2, 5. They are long range and armor piercing.
So we got 4 of those.
Yep. So it does even more damage, of course. You've got 4 of those. That's what you use when you really want to lay down some punishment.
Is there a little hula girl on the...
I can't hear you.
Is there a little hula girl on the dashboard or something? Like, are there any... We have the Happy Larry on the side. Like, are there any other memorabilia or personal item? Because this kind of vehicle feels like there might have been.
Yeah. Sure. There is indeed. I mean, it's a Colonial Marine. Yeah, why not? So we've gone this far. You've broken
that, or it was dice on the mirror.
You've broken my campaign this much. We might as well just go all the way.
I just rolled the dice. You told me what they meant.
Yeah. All right. 4 meters. So yeah, you can all fit into this thing easily.
I am already in it.
Oh yeah, climbing in.
Lightly armored off-road vehicle designed to carry a driver and a gunner. The rest of you can squeeze into this with 4 surface to air.
Seat?
Oh, interesting. The missiles, by the way, are surface to air missiles. They are not designed for infantry. So if anything's flying at you, they let you attack the sky. So they're not designed to shoot at anything on the ground. But with the 50 millimeter gun, you don't really have to worry about that.
I mean, we could use them against a base, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, it's not what they're designed for, but they do shoot, and you can't. I mean,
they shoot and they go kaboom.
They shoot and they go kaboom. But if you're going to shoot it, surface to air missiles usually require something to lock onto when they're firing out. So but that doesn't mean you can't. Get creative. Anyway,
we'll see what we can do.
Hopefully,
we'll have
nothing's
many opportunities to make things go explode. Yeah, no. Why would anything shoot at us? This is just decorative.
So to reiterate here, though, I did misread that. So you guys, you can all fit onto this thing, but it is a not comfortable fit. It looks like it is designed for a gunner and a driver. But I'm going to amend a little bit of this because I'm just going off of what I see in the book. Even though I see the space for the gunner and the driver, I could say that 2 of you, if you want to lay against the side of this, I would just say you don't want to speed along all terrain. I would say, you know what I mean, with all the bumps and whatnot. Think of this as like y'all can drive on it, but some of y'all are sitting on the hood of the car, kind of deal. So you're gonna get there, but you want to take it easy.
Yeah, I see a little bit of space behind the seat that you could maybe scooch people into a little uncomfortably and then have the gunner in the back. But yeah.
My guess is the seat to the right is not actually a seat to the right. It's probably a flat space where Stinger missiles stick right up and fire out of. So
you're gonna have to snuggle the missiles.
You're gonna have to snuggle missile snuggles. So with that,
I can take gunner seat if we want. That's the ranged combat is the thing that I have.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Both you and Martha are pretty good at it, so whichever wants to take it.
So, Tig, it feels like old times. You get into the back of this thing and clip yourself in. Using the safety harness, you just put 2 of those clasps down onto the back of the gun and lean backwards. You remember basic when you were first training on one of the Stingers. It's kind of like standard issue before you upgrade to learning any kind of vehicle combat. You still remember how terrifying it was your first time as these things were driving at full speed. It always felt like you were about to fall off the back.
Oof. Let's hope it's like riding a bike.
And with that, you guys start speeding towards the research facility. Again, because you now have vehicle and because you have weapons and stuff, it's not going to take you that much time to get there. About 15 minutes of careful driving through all terrain, because even though the forest is flat, the snow is quite thick in some places. And every now and then you do hit bumps and have to slow down or even stop to readjust and then move forward again. But yes, after about 15 minutes of driving at a pretty decent pace, you manage to clear the 2 kilometers to get to where you need to go. Coming upon the research facility, you can see that it looks like it is built into the side of a rock face, but it does not look like it's in good shape. First of all, it does have what looks like an exterior wall. Maybe even at one point, it had something mounted on top of where you would see gates, perhaps automated combat systems. One of them looks like there is a hulk of metal that has been burned away or melted. Something that came out of the wall and perhaps was completely destroyed. And it looks like it's just kind of burnt over. Anybody who spent any time in the Colonial Marines would look at this and say it looks like the place was bombed or something blew up inside at some point. And it looks old, like it's old damage. Probably happened long time ago. May have actually been a self-destruct. It's hard to say. But from the outside, it's not easy to see the interior outside of this wall, but the wall is quite large and it looks like it stretches around maybe perimeter wall. Looks like it might be close to maybe a third of a mile in length, running down the length of this rock face. In some place, it looks like it's collapsed. It looks like it's a standard rock face sort of constructed, perhaps stone wall that is interfaced with occasional metal beams and girders to reinforce it. But it doesn't look like the wall itself was necessarily designed to keep things out. You have the distinct impression based off of what you know, it's far more likely the way this is built was to keep things in. You're all driving up and you start to slow down. The open gateway in front of you would indicate that there is a muddy sludge that kind of leads up into it, almost like a road that has been driven upon heavily over the years that has created a natural pathway going up into this facility itself. Beyond that initial broken gateway, you can see what looks like a bunch of square buildings built on top of each other that kind of like awkward angles, almost like somebody took a deck of cards and just gently spread them out and stopped halfway. So they forms this kind of interesting geometric twisting like shape. It looks like it's hard to tell, but there's at least one primary facility that you can see just from the outside, and everything else is behind that wall. I'm stopping it here because I want to know how you all plan to proceed. Do you plan on going into the wall? Do you want to be subtle as you go inside, or do you want to drive into the front doors? You are in open view as you are approaching. No one seems to react to your approach. No gunfire, no nothing. And there doesn't, from this angle, look like anyone is even here.
How far are we from it, did you say?
Y'all are about, I would say, less than a kilometer away as you're driving up on it.
Eliza knows that Doc did that comms sweep before. Martha doesn't, and Martha wants to do the same.
Okay. So you're going to try to, so it's a little harder for you because you don't have access to a comms unit from Mother. So you can do a local comms sweep if you want, but you won't be able to do a planetary or even interplanetary comms sweep the way Doc did.
Local is good enough for me.
You're just trying to listen to see if the base is talking?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and make me a ComTech check.
All right. ComTech. I still have 3 stress, by the way.
Don't. You're in a
1.
cool Jeep.
1.
Yeah.
Martha, you detect a Colonial Marines transponder alert code transmitting from inside the base.
Oh.
It's just a simple pulsing signal. Boop, 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 boop. You recognize it immediately that when comms are down, and it's sort of like an automated SOS that fire teams will typically send out if things have gone south and they want to remain comms quiet. They're just sending out pings.
Okay. So it's the kind that would be with people, not with a ship.
It's letting you know that there was a Colonial Marines fire team that was inside and they sent out an SOS. You don't know how long this has been transmitting.
I look up. Tig, you hear that?
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. And I translate it to the others. Fire team was in there. Bada. We don't know how long. Bada.
So either we either got allies or we've got more bodies to collect.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, the SOS has been received, and that's what I heard back on the Elios. That's the SOS that they're responding to and coming here.
That's the ship SOS. This is an individual SOS.
Oh.
This will be somebody went inside. The ship SOS is it's a buoy that just automatically when a ship is knocked down, but this is a strike team specifically.
Yeah, someone's in the base from the Colonial Marines.
Well, I gathered that from the missile that took us out of the sky. I'd imagine we're going to get quite the welcome once we get inside.
Well, hopefully the Colonial Marines they will be friendly to us. They should be friendly to us.
Why wouldn't they be friendly to us?
Yeah, no reason I can think of. But yes, also not friendlies are very likely in there too. But everyone just keep an eye out for some Marines in there who might help us or need our help or both.
Really quick, what is medium range? Just how, like, is that like a
Medium
in the same
range?
room, 50 feet, give or take.
say again?
In the same room or so,
In the same room,
50 feet, give or take, is what Eric told us previously.
Perfect,
Yeah,
just
medium range is up to 25 meters away.
Awesome. Thank you.
Short range is a few meters away or in the same zone as you, and engaged is right next to you. Long range is up to 100 meters away, or 4 zones, and then extreme is a kilometer.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we just storming the castle, or are we?
Any words of encouragement or comfort? Can anyone help me take my stress down a little bit? And I can help bring down other people's stress too, if you need it.
Yeah, I was razzing you a little earlier, so maybe if you want to take that. Let's see, what have we got here? I mean, I feel like this is an unusual circumstance, so but we are kind of an unusual crew, so I feel like, we met it where it's at. Banter, I'll drop your stress by 2.
Thank you. I'll take it.
So yeah, guys, don't die.
Don't die. No, it's. I mean, if we're gonna go in, maybe we just go in. I don't know what else there is. I don't know what can be gained by sneaking around at this point. They know we're here. I would be shocked if whoever's in there doesn't know we're here.
True.
We're not sneaky and we've got big guns.
We have a lot of big guns. Yeah.
Might be the play.
Well, it sounds like we're all decided then. We just go.
I don't know what else to do.
Yeah. Who looks the most stressed right now to Martha? Anyone? Do any of you have stress?
Doc is absolutely not stressed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that everybody's probably down, especially if you're in vicinity bantering, and even in banter earlier, that knocks everybody in the vicinity. So if anybody had any at this point,
You've been sassing people very continually.
Yeah. Okay. Then I will
That is true.
take one more off because it sounds like it's been continuous. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, this is a great team. That's all I got to say.
Let's not die. And then she's gonna settle back into the.
Okay.
Let's not die.
Let's go.
All right. You accelerate. You all feel the lurch of the acceleration as this attack vehicle begins to spin forward. You begin to travel up and up the incline, the sludge and the water in the mud around you. Again, the air is light here. For those of you who are still wearing your evacs, your Evo suits, though, you guys are feeling okay. As you move up towards the gates, the interior of the courtyard starts becoming very clear to you. First of all, you see that the space for the length, the sheer size of that wall, probably to accommodate vessel landing within the walls of the ship. And that becomes clear because the first thing that catches your attention as you drive into the courtyard is the Weyland-Yutani Magellan Class J exploration ship that is currently settled behind the walls, about 200 yards from where you drive in. This is an advanced scientific craft. It is one of the more top of the line vessels that Weyland-Yutani uses. Its landing struts are down. It is currently resting. You don't see any hydraulic or venting taking place, which means it's probably been settled here for a hot minute. But that's only the start of what you see. You also see signs of combat. As you start moving closer and edging closer to the end of the compound, it starts to catch your attention. These little bitty flecks of gloss that is catching your eye as you're moving closer and closer. Bullet shells all over the ground where you guys are driving through, and not all of them have been buried by snow or mud. None of them are smoking. There's nothing to indicate that any of this is recent, at least not in the past couple of hours, but a lot of bullet shells. You see a couple of blast marks. It looks like some kind of firefight definitely happened out here. As you start driving past this Magellan-class ship that is currently landed here, to give you an idea of the scale of the ship, the Magellan-class vessel is only slightly smaller than the Elios, so it's quite large. But this one has modular engines on the side that kind of angle down. This is a much more advanced craft. So
as soon as Doc sees that ship, he's just gonna go, "Oh, what? No way! I can't believe it."
There is also a secondary vessel that you catch as you drive past it, about maybe 100 meters or so just behind it. In a docking port is a Lockmart model excavator. It looks like your standard issue cargo hauler vessel. Real cheap, kind of old. Usually designed to just move ore and shit like that from surface to orbit when needed. It does have an FTL capability, but these are old. Oh wait, no, these do not have FTL capability. They are only meant for orbit to surface kind of. Yeah, typically they only travel in atmosphere, but they can make a low orbit. So usually just to transfer materials and whatnot to stations and then come back down. With that, though, there's just signs of combat all over the place. You can see more and more of these shells. The facility does look like it has a large pair of cargo doors that open it up. These cargo doors look like they probably accommodate very large shipping containers that are brought inside by large trucks that are constantly moving equipment and stuff in and out. You get the sense that this place, it looks exactly like an abandoned facility as it was described to you. That it's probably been reclaimed. Someone is clearly here. And upon approach, you see indeed these two huge cargo doors are wide open. There's these long strips of what look like safety anti-radiation curtains that are like thick, heavy plastics that are very difficult to see through. And immediately all of you are suddenly having flashbacks of a certain encounter you had on a planet not too long ago where you kind of encountered a very similar setup here where it looked like a research facility being built into something. This thankfully does not have the otherworldly appearance to it. Doesn't look like you've discovered some kind of ancient facility. This looks like it was built in the past 30 or 40 years or so. And finally, what's up?
Motion detector is out as soon as we're within this area. Yeah.
Right now, here on the surface, you're detecting nothing. Nothing in that cargo container or hold or anything like that.
It's got medium range. That's why I had asked about that earlier. So
Cool. Yeah, within 25 meters, you're not detecting any movement aside from you guys on the Stinger. But as the Stinger comes to a slow crawl and then to a stop, as you guys near the side, what would you like to do?
Can I ask? I'm curious to see if this will work in this moment.
Sure.
With everything that we've seen, would I be able to use group psychology, which is you understand what drives pack behavior and how people tend to function as a group with a successful observation check? I could ask you a question about the group, like just seeing the
what
way
group?
Whoever was here.
The Weyland-Yutani. I'm assuming that it's Weyland-Yutani, and just looking from the mess. Can I get an idea of is this Varela organizing this, or is this someone after Varela? That's the main thing that he's looking for.
So what is okay? So what's the role involved with that?
It's an observation check.
You make an observation check, and it's to be completely transparent. It's very unlikely you'll be able to tell if this was somebody chasing down Barella, but you might get a sense of what was. How did this battle unfold? What happened?
Yeah. What went down? All right, cool. Why are you not letting me do wits? Come on now. 1 second. So sorry. There we go. Demi Plain. All right, there we go. And you guys okay if I use the Oxploit?
You should. Yes, I think you should.
Okay, because I'm gonna.
Okay. You're using an Ox point. So this one comes from Kato, aka Kato.
Kato, you're a real one. That's a total of 2. 1 success and the Oxploit.
Okay, so 2 successes. So then you will be able to ascertain with an observation check. I'll let you succeed to try to figure out what's happening here. And if you want, you can ask one additional question.
Okay.
So it's difficult to tell because the nature of the weapons that were used here, you're not sure what kind they were. So the bullet shells are all over the place. It's entirely possible that people were firing full auto and shells were just flying everywhere. There's no bodies out here. So part of you feels like they stormed the place, perhaps. You don't see any corpses laying around. As you guys slide up to and come to a stop with a good, healthy, safe distance from the cargo doors that are open, and knowing y'all are kind of keeping a distance from everything in case anything wants to jump out at you. One of the things you notice is, of course, here there's walkways. Not everything is just a courtyard of mud. So as soon as you step off into the sludge dock and step up onto the concrete walkway, as everyone is unloading from the Stinger and checking it out, you step into the sludge and move past you, looking down at all of the machine gun shells that are laying all different calibers, trying to get a sense of what happened here. But as you step up out of the sludge and onto the concrete walkway, you pause as you glance down and notice that your boots are actually leaving bloody marks, bloody prints on the concrete. The sludge is not from water.
I can assume if this is just a group of humans, me shooting at another group of people, that the bullets are gonna, be where I would expect if another person's there. Do I see anything like shooting on the walls, like something is shooting, like something is crawling on the wall, they're shooting at it?
There doesn't look like. What do you mean? Like, are there bullet holes in the?
Are there bullet holes in places that doesn't make sense if it's just 2 groups of people fighting?
There are a couple of bullet holes at higher elevations, but not enough to indicate that they were directing their fire in that direction. More likely they were loose. Yeah, there's just too much chaos here to really get a sense of exactly what happened. However, the amount of blood required to saturate the earth with enough to turn it into mud like this, your medical thoughts right off the top of your head, which would be the additional point of information you would get for rolling so high, would be people don't just bleed that much and keep going. So either an entire truck that was carrying blood donations exploded, or lots of things died out here and aren't here anymore. You're muted.
Last thing, y'all. I'm so sorry. Is there any way I could do a medicine check to see, just from looking at the sludge, the blood sludge, how long ago this may have happened?
Yeah, you can make that attempt if you want to try it.
Here we go. This is something that I'm much
better.
At
this point, the rest of the group is going to start noticing what Doc is looking at, because there are just deep red bloody footprints where he has stepped out of the mud.
I'm a push.
Okay, gain a point of stress and add that.
Yeah.
the roll.
Oh, okay, that's much better. That's 3.
That's how much? 3 successes?
3 successes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're trying to figure out how long ago this happened?
Yep.
Well, it's pretty hard to tell. Blood congealing. It would have had to have mixed with it would have had to have mixed with water at some point to be out here in the condition that it's in. But then again, if there's enough of it, and Doc, there would have to be a lot of it. You start looking around at the mud, and as you start sifting through and stepping on it, you definitely get a feeling that this probably, whatever the hell happened here, whatever kicked up all of this earth and saturated it with putrescence and death, it couldn't have been more than a couple of days ago. You do note with that many successes that there are no other bloody footprints out here, and nor are there bloody footprints going up or down the ramp of the Magellan-class vessel that is currently just hovering open.
Well, as we proceed forward, I would recommend that you all brace your stomachs because I do believe we are due to find a mess. All this slush, if you have not taken the time to notice just yet, is blood, and unless Weyla-Yutani is in the habit of carrying around livestock, it's very... It means that we're going to find, or we may not, a lot of dead people.
Copy. As we start making our way closer, I would like to just kind of be on the eye out for any things in the environment that maybe resemble acid burns.
Okay.
Just double checking.
You are all pulling upon your instinct and experience to try to look for the telltale signs of the nightmarish things that you are all kind of expecting to find here. Each of you remembers very well that when you opened that cargo container, what came out and leapt onto Martha's face and nearly killed her. You know it came from this place. You know those pirates, whatever they found at this place, came out of that cargo hold you were all looking at going into, carrying those containers that have these things inside of them. Outside, however, without having to make an observation check, Tig, you don't see any signs of any of those horrifying acidic burns or scorching or any kind of melting. Instead, it just looks like this place has probably been subjected to various chapters of violence. The place is in a series of disarray. The blood that Doc has discovered, probably the latest feature of violence that has broken out of this facility more than a few times. Judging from the state of the blast marks you see on some of the walls, you would say this place has probably been attacked at least once in the past decade or so and hasn't been repaired. But that kind of matches the intelligence you guys had about this place. But no bodies and enough blood to account for plenty.
All right. Gun up.
You and Martha, ready your weapons. There is a pause where everyone kind of regards each other, knowing full well that you're about to literally walk into the mouth of that beast in front of you. It looks like just a large, dark entryway into this facility. Here's what you know. You know that whatever Varela is looking for is in there. Whatever this general from Darkstar is looking for is in there. Those face huggers came from this place. You know there are sub-levels to this place, and that they were spoken about with reverence and horror and not to go down there. And you guys are going inside, taking a look at one another. What would you all like to do? You see Tig steady herself, put together her nerves, clench her jaw. Tig, all that comes through your mind right now is whatever you're about to face on the other side of it, whatever you have to rip through on the other side of it is a safer world for Buffy.
That's what it's always been about.
What's the crew of the Elios do now? Who takes point? Who wants to back it up? What are you guys doing? Because as of right now, you are in an alien dungeon crawl. So
I don't know. I've fallen the basics in the past. We've had a Marine in front and a Marine in back.
okay. So we'll say you take point and Martha will take up the rear. What's up?
The Wayland Utani ship, did it look damaged at all?
You do see what look like marks that probably armor-piercing weapons fire slammed into the hull. So the damage looks perhaps superficial. Ships like that can take that kind of punishment from small arms fire. It doesn't look like any heavy weapons fire hit the ship.
Would Connor be able to get into that ship? Like, am I able
Sure,
to?
if he goes up the ramp, yeah. If the doors are not locked, or if he can get Martha to hack his way in. If you're asking if Connor can get access to the ship, that'll really depend on a comms tech check and depending on the mother unit inside. It's a pretty advanced vessel.
Doc is just gonna say, this place is flooded with the blood of people that we can't find. This screams we're gonna need a quick getaway. Our ship is currently limping and dying, and there's a perfectly good one over there. I think it might behoove us to have Connor make his way over here. We have a pilot and a ship right where we're gonna be hauling ass out of.
I will bring this up to you, Doc, because as you say the words, as they come out of your mouth, it occurs to you in that moment that you technically have a pilot with you. And if it's a Wayland Utani ship, it's entirely possible they might have access to whatever they need in order to get this thing to work, especially if it's the same ship you think it is, if it's the ship belonging to who you think it is. Isaac has kind of functioned as a bit of a skeleton key because Varela did not expect Isaac to flip sides. And here we are. So I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Doc, as you say it, it all starts kind of stacking into place for you.
We've got two options. We can have Connor make his way. Frigid old bastard might not make it. Or Isaac, you could prepare the ship for us when we inevitably come out running and screaming. You are muted.
You're muted, but it is kind of funny. You're still muted.
Still muted.
But it is teaching us to appreciate how much we miss your voice. It is a moment of
Why?
There you are.
There it is.
No, sorry. Please be subjected to me once more. I think I knocked something with my foot, and there was not a muted, and it was in fact muted. So thank you, firmware. Anyway, the point being, what about the eventuality where you don't come running and screaming because everything is taken care of? Can I still fly the ship?
I'm always inclined to take things from Wayland Utani. So, and besides, if everything goes right, that doesn't mean that the Elios is suddenly fixed. So this might just be the best way for us to get on out of here.
That part, that's what I was thinking. Connor might need more time.
I look at Tig and Martha. Will the two of you be okay without me?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I would prefer you were in there with us. I don't know how much it takes to warm up the ship, if we can do it before we go in.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way.
Yeah, we have to move. Either I stay behind and work on the ship,
No.
or I go
No,
with
yeah,
you.
yeah. I think you come with.
No, we park the Stinger outside the gate, and that's our getaway. No.
Also, are we gonna leave all these weapons just here unguarded?
My
No,
Just
we're
drive this thing
what we
inside?
want.
the way I was describing it is y'all had unpacked them and we're all
have our
carrying
weapons.
whatever
Yeah,
weapons.
we've got
Okay, we're just like
We've got
loaded
what
up
we
with all.
Yeah.
Okay, there's also a gun on this. What I'm saying is, can't we just drive it in through these cargo doors and
You
keep it
could,
with
yes.
us?
If you want to drive, I mean, you have to drive up over the walkway, but that's not a big deal. If you want to try to drive this into the cargo bay, you can. that would-
Anyone have objections to that?
I can drive it, park it, take a quick look around, and see if something jumps out and says, "Boo! I am an alien being with malevolent intent." And if not, we can go and do the mission.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, great.
We've got the ship as a backup, but I think having Isaac with us is better.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm an asset.
I mean, it's always better when Isaac's here, but like for this, I very much would like Isaac to be with us.
So Isaac, you're going to drive the Stinger into the cargo?
Yep. Drive
the
into the
facility?
cargo, take maybe a quick obs if we make a roll about it, but just really, since I'm in here, might as well use my eyeballs and then get out, rejoin the team. Done.
Okay. So everybody disembarks from the Stinger. Isaac, you start the Stinger back up again. It is not quiet at all. This thing is making about as much noise as one of those loud hog bikes that you hear on the LA freeways. You start slowly drifting this thing, rolling up over the top of this concrete walkway. You guys see the trail of thick, bloody mud trailing behind over the top of the walkway as Isaac begins to steer the Stinger inside. Isaac, it's like this yawning mouth as you're starting to slowly pull into it. The light on the outside, even though shadowy, it is completely dark inside. And as you pull in, you notice that there is no power inside this facility, at least not in this particular room. You do find yourself in a very cavernous space, but the light immediately dims around you as you draw in. As the light dims around you, you see this blinking flash on the driver's side steering wheel. You just see this red light start to blink off and on. It says lights. Just click off and on. It's a little red button. You press it. Floodlights on every corner of the Stinger immediately light up as it detects that there's no lights on. As the floodlights light up, you see a cavernous space that looks like it is also covered in bullet shells all over the ground around you. You can hear like the cracking, grinding underneath the wheels as you are slowly pulling in, as each shell seems to crack and scrape up against the concrete under the weight of the vehicle. You finally bring it to a stop, not going too far in. You want to be able to back up pretty quickly. The lights around you would indicate that the places that you were in is probably close to 3 stories in height, but it does have a couple of levels and catwalks from what you can view around, which makes sense. It looks like this is a multi-layered storage facility of some kind. You do see lots of crates, but it's actually quite empty. As you're glancing around, you hear a thumping sound, a tapping sound. And it takes you a second to glance down and see that light button that you had just pressed has turned a thicker shade of red because of the liquid that's currently dripping onto it.
Oh, I look up.
Isaac, you slowly glance up, and shadowed against the floodlights that are starting to expand out to the interior, you see 6 headless bodies stripped naked and hanging from their ankles. Spines ripped free from the cadavers, the heads missing. They look like they are tattooed. They look like they may have been soldiers. There is no sign of the heads.
Found the bloods.
And that is where we are stopping the penultimate episode of Beacon.
I knew it! I knew she was here!
You are not alone.
Oh.
How delightful.
Again, we encounter your spouse.
It's my girlfriend, the Predator.
Good thing
Just
we're all
give to
covered in
me.
guns.
Yay!
Whatever is lying for you inside, everything is waiting in this facility. Next week, hopefully we won't run long, but I want to make sure that we get everything wrapped up. You guys have arrived. So next week will be the full encounters in the last chapter of the campaign for Beacon. We've been playing this game for a little over a year and a half, I think. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
April would have been a year and a half.
Yeah. It's been we didn't expect it. This was originally a sponsored series by Demiplane. And when that sponsorship wrapped up, we did not feel like stopping. And we have played it out to the end. It's been a blast. And I will warn the audience again that after discussing this with the players, we have all agreed that we're taking the safety stops off. You guys will definitely want to use your blessed and beloved Ox points prodigiously next episode. So, with that, as you all know, we're past the point where XP is even required. So we're going to bring an end to tonight's episode with a big thank you to everyone who has supported the campaign up to this point. Next Monday night will be a big one. And July 15th, the USS Pride begins her final voyage in our next campaign, Clear Skies, The Last Excelsior. So we're looking forward. It's going to be a big month for the Stream Punks. So thank you so much for all of your support. We will see you back here Monday night for the final chapter, the story of the crew of the Elios. Until then, though, this is the crew of the Elios signing off.